Hey, Prime members, you can listen to Crime and Sports early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Download the app today.
Rakuten is the smartest way to save money when you shop because you earn cash back at over 3,500 stores. Fashion, beauty, electronics, home essentials, travel, dining, concert tickets, and more. Your favorite stores like Lowe's, Levi's, and Nike pay Rakuten to send them shoppers. And Rakuten then passes on a part of that payment to its members as cash back. You're already shopping at your favorite stores. Why not save while you're doing it? It's a no-brainer. Membership is free and easy to sign up. Get the Rakuten app now and join the 17 million members who are already saving. Cashback rates change daily. See Rakuten.com for details. That's Rakuten. Your cashback really adds up.
Scam Factory, the explosive new true crime podcast from Wondery, exposes a multi-billion-dollar criminal empire. Every suspicious text you ignore masks a huge network of compounds where thousands are held captive and forced to scam others under the threat of death. Follow Scam Factory on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Crime and Sports.
Yay!
Yay, indeed, Jimmy. Yay, indeed. My name is James Pietragallo. I'm here with my co-host.
I'm Jimmie Whisman.
Thank you, folks, so much for joining us today on part 4 of Evel Knievel. He has been an absolute mess and disaster and a wild guy, and he's not even really famous yet. Wait till he gets a couple of bucks in his pocket and he really thinks he's above the law. Then it turns wild.
Because right now he's just got a name. He's got no goddamn money.
Yep, he's got no money. He's got a name. People buy him drinks in bars and shit, but that's not. He doesn't exactly. No, he doesn't exactly have anything else going for him at this point. So we'll get to all that. We'll jump right in very quickly though. Head over to shutupandgivememurder.com. Get your tickets for live shows. They are coming up for Small Town Murder. We have our virtual live show, of course, on April 19th. It is the 420 virtual live show.
Saturday night.
It's a Saturday night. We dress up in costumes, and I get Jimmie extremely stoned using weird devices that he didn't know existed. So that's how we
ways of lighting that stuff on fire.
Scare the hell out of him, and it's a lot of fun. And you're going to hear a wild murder story anywhere in the world with internet. You can get this, and it's available for 2 weeks after that. You can watch it 10 times if you want. Do whatever you want with it. We're very excited. And also get your tickets for the in-person live shows.
Yeah.
Next up is St. Louis and Chicago. I think St. Louis is about sold out. Chicago has some tickets left in May. Get those right now and the rest of the year, too, because a lot of shows are getting sold out very quickly. So if you want to go like to Philly and D.C. in December, get them now.
Me too.
Because you
better hurry.
You better hurry. So
they might buy my ticket.
You don't know.
They might buy my seat.
You don't know. It could be two guys you've never seen before up there. That's good. Someone else can do all that fucking work. Good. Someone else can write that story, and then two idiots can talk about it. They'll be very confused.
On the stage.
So definitely do that. Shutupandgivememurder.com is the way you do that. Patreon as well. Get your Patreon. Bonus episodes is what you get there. Anybody $5 a month or above. You get this giant hundreds of episodes deep back catalog you've never heard before of bonus stuff. Then you get new ones every other week, one Crime and Sports and one Small Town Murder, and you get them all, baby, for the low price of $5 a month. This week, what you're going to get for Crime and Sports, we're going to talk about that 2012 Miami Dolphins bullying scandal.
Oh,
where,
boy.
Yeah, that was a whole big deal. And some
ugly.
new stuff has come out about it, and there's some, guys that were involved in it have different opinions about it now. So we'll talk all about that. And then for Small Town Murder, very interesting, we're going to talk about the Amazon review killer who killed people and then left reviews on Amazon of the items he used in his murders, being completely honest about, I locked this person up, and people, or the responses to it. He's dead serious.
Stop it.
Craziest shit you've ever heard in your life. And he's a serial killer. It's wild. So we'll talk all about that and more. Patreon.com/crimeinsports. That said, you get a shout out too at the end of the show. Don't want to miss that. Yeah, Jimmie will fuck your name all up. Don't you worry about that. That said, let's dive back in, or should we say jump back in, because it's evil. Yeah. Back into Evel Knievel, part 4 of Evel Knievel. And it's 1970 right now. And he has become known He's become a known quantity. He's on talk shows. He's a known guy now. That wide world of sports footage of him crashing really made him a known guy. They're talking about making a movie about him, as we talked about. George Hamilton.
Yeah.
He put a gun to the guy. He put a gun to a movie star's head and said, "Read me the script." And he said he held it on him the entire time.
Whole time.
He didn't just like, oh, you know.
Act two.
Yeah, it was. He said, "Never read faster or better in my life." Like that's how that works. So if you want a guy to perform a script for you, all you have to do is threaten his life. Is how the way that goes. So April 3rd, 1970. There's an article here in the Oregonian newspaper about an 18-car jump set by Evel Knievel.
Okay.
He's going to try to jump 18 cars now.
That's a lot of cars.
That's what he's going to do. If he makes it, he said it'll be a world record, which everything he does, he's the only one doing it.
Nobody else is trying, man.
Yep. He said this jump will actually be 50 yards farther than I jumped at Caesar's Palace. So he's saying, and he's like, that jump almost killed me. So, show up for this one. You might see my head explode like a fucking overripe cantaloupe. It's going to happen. Sure. He said, I should be moving 94 or 96 miles an hour when I take off the ramp for the SIR attempt. He said, I've got 60 horsepower in the rear wheel of that bike. I can go from 0 to 60 miles an hour in 3.5 seconds.
Wow.
Cruising. Remember, he's got the new bike now, too. He got the new Harley there.
Yeah.
He says that they asked, turning to a man from the track, he asks what kind of cars he'll be jumping. And he said, Cougars, I think. I guess Mercury Cougars he's going to jump there. They said, can you get a forklift and sort of crunch them together, smiling a little? Like, hey, maybe you can smush them in a little bit. Yeah, make this a little easier for me here. He said, he said, I may buy some land around Hell's Canyon in Idaho. It's a mile deep in one spot and almost a mile wide. So he's like, maybe I'll jump that. I'll just buy it and jump it.
Why jump the Grand Canyon if you got that one right there?
Fuck it. Well, yeah, that's how Snake River comes up. He said it would be sort of fitting having a guy named Evel jumping Hell's Canyon. Yeah. There he is. So he does it. Yeah, he's got a lot of those, which at the time were not. They were, I guess, pre-dad jokes. They weren't even dads, really. That's where dad jokes came from.
Yeah.
They weren't at the time. They weren't dad jokes. You know what I mean?
They were just douche jokes.
Yes, yeah. People will watch like Seinfeld now and they'll be like, oh, it's too like sitcom-y, blah, blah, blah. It's like, no. That's what they made that. All the ones after that were trying to do that.
That's the idea.
It's not.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the difference. So he
it's a
made it.
Hacky.
Yeah. It's like, no. People have been hacking that. That's the point. So original, you fucking idiots. So he made it. 118 feet over 18 parked cars.
That's a long way.
That's a long way, I would say.
And it's funny because
I'm not
118.
Doing that.
It's a long way, but when it's a jump like that, it's over in a snap. It's over
2
right
seconds.
So it's,
these events,
yeah.
These people pay all this money and they go. So he had to have like a bunch of he had like the Flying Wallenda brothers.
You need time killers.
Yeah, he had a whole crew.
You need some openers and some fill.
Some openers. He comes out too. He'll say something to the crowd, then go back into his thing, and that's the thing. He comes out on the bike, does a couple laps. Like he has to, you have to build it up because otherwise it would be like, hey, we're all here. Okay, you take a bite of your hot dog. He goes ring over the cars, and that's the end of the fucking.
Now I got to finish this hot dog with no fucking suspense.
All right, then. Thank you very much, everybody. Good night. The lights are out. You're like, what the fuck
They ran
happened?
out of mustard. It's just meat and bun. This is awful.
This is terrible. I didn't even have time to put mustard on it. I don't even know if they have it.
Do you remember as a kid when they have that big dinosaur that ate cars?
Yeah.
That thing would be, it would take no time. It was done. It's
super done.
Sat there all day eating cars.
Well, they put it with a monster truck show. That's how they do it.
Right.
They're like, come see Bigfoot, Gravedigger, and what the fuck was it called?
Eating Tyrannosaurus. I don't know.
Oh, God.
What was it? It was a something Rex,
something,
right?
Yeah, Carasaurus Rex or
Car-eating dino.
Fuck, what the fuck was its name? It had a name that they would announce that.
White trash events.
Come see Gravedigger, Bigfoot, and...
Yeah, what? What is this? It doesn't have it. What? Oh,
fucking Google, thanks a lot.
Gigantosaurus? That ain't it.
No, that's not it. It had another.
It
was like car eat a fucking your assholeless Rex or some shit.
Car eating Rex is what I'm typing in. What does it say?
The face fucking car
dinosaur?
eating.
That's what it is. Robosaurus.
Robosaurus. Gravedigger, Bigfoot, and Robosaurus this Sunday. Robosaurus.
So stupid.
Crunch.
I mean, you can only see so much of it, obviously, so it would be over so fast.
It's so fast. Yeah, you have to put that after, before the monster truck show or afterwards when the
it
cars.
Was after generally, yeah.
They were already all fucked up. You send it in.
Bring in Robosaurus. I only saw it once, but I was like, this isn't as good as I wanted.
I only saw it once. That's like most of the kids got to see Robosaurus many, many times, and I only had the pleasure once of seeing old Robosaurus in action.
There's a Megasaurus too, evidently. That
Megasaurus.
That sounds like a knockoff somewhere.
Yeah, somebody I'm sure.
Robosaurus was the traveling one.
That was the one I remember. Robosaurus. Yeah,
that's a good one from the 80s.
So here he is in May of 1970. Evil's hurt again. In the newspaper, broke his right shoulder and possibly his right hip when he crashed after jumping over 13 trucks. So,
how do you get 17 cars, but you can't make 13?
I think
now?
the trucks are bigger.
What kind of trucks?
I think they're like box trucks.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they're box trucks. They're going to be bigger. So, I guess apparently a newsman accompanying the stuntman as he was wheeled down a hall toward the surgery room said Knievel seemed calmer than before the jump and was in good spirits.
It's probably the truck.
Yeah. But everybody says that, though. When he's hurt afterwards or taking him away, he's totally, calm and chill. But before the jump, he's like, I don't want to do this. Oh, my God. What am I going to do? Holy shit. Where's my wild turkey?
He's going to hurt himself.
Man.
Afterwards, you're like, I knew that was going to happen.
God damn it. I think he's just used to that. He's like, okay, this I understand. I get the ambulance.
But everybody else is panicked.
They all think.
We're all panicked. And the audience, we see him crash. We're like, oh, no. And then he's on the ground going, I did it again, didn't I?
He said it made it across 13 trucks and onto the ramp on the far side, but it landed on the front wheel instead of the back wheel.
Yeah, that's not good.
And he couldn't control it, so it twisted away, and he was tossed off the thing, and he landed on his shoulder. That's why he broke his shoulder, and he was conscious as he was taken away and waved to the crowd, which is they're like, yay, that's what we wanted to see anyway.
Yeah.
That's what they were looking for here. So here is from the book. They said he would break his collarbone when he came up short in Yakima, trying to repeat his jump over 13 Pepsi trucks. The promoter, Ted Pollock, said this time he wasn't drunk. How do you figure it? When he was drunk, he made it. When he wasn't drunk, he got hurt. I think you just explained it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when you're drunk, you're...
What's the Lord protects idiots and drunks or whatever the fuck? It's one of those things.
But when you're sober,
Stupid
too,
fucking saying.
When you do dumb shit, you're just like, you're less careful because you think, I got this. And then, oh, no, I don't got this.
Yeah.
When you're drunk, you're like, oh, I hope I got this.
Well, yeah, I think when you're drunk, you're probably more just prone to open up the throttle and being like, we're hitting this bitch and doing
Here we
it.
go.
Whereas you might be holding back a little bit if you're sober, maybe. Maybe that's what it is. And drunks and accidents get hurt less. They're looser.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
Yeah.
They're just looser.
They just flail.
That's why babies get hurt less, because they're loose. They don't tighten up because they don't know they're getting in an accident. They don't know what the fuck's going on.
Yeah.
So they're all loose and they're fine. Whereas we tighten up and we're all messed up.
And break our fucking neck and die.
Or hip and shoulder in this case.
There you go, yeah.
He said if he survived Vancouver wearing a special brace as he cleared 12 cars, he crashed and returned to Seattle International where he cleared 19 Datsuns, but bounced off the safety van, wobbled and fell badly, got shipped off to the hospital with several broken bones and ribs and compound fractures on the fourth and fifth vertebrae.
Oh.
That's bad.
Wait a minute. Compound fractures of the fourth and fifth vertebrae?
That means they're popping out of your skin, doesn't it?
Yeah. In your fucking back?
That seems like a lot.
That can't be true.
When you see the accidents, you go, I don't see how that wouldn't happen. I mean, literally, he's a rag doll thrown off a motorcycle and bouncing off the concrete for fucking 50 feet. But that seems like a major injury that would make you not want to do this anymore. So Knievel said to the Los Angeles Times, I've had 12 major open reduction operations. That's when they cut you open and put a plate or a screw in. I've had about 35 or 40 screws put in me to hold the bones together.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
Jesus. They said, how do you like the hospital food? And he said, I don't like any hospital food. He said, if you're hungry enough, I guess you can eat it. But I'm a New York steak and lobster tails man myself.
Okay.
This guy lives in a trailer.
I'm a king,
he lives in his car.
I'm an emperor's dime.
He's acting like they used to. Back in the day, I read about like Jackie Gleason when he was like a king of fucking entertainment. He would eat like 3 lobsters and 2 steaks at like 6 o'clock in the morning. But he was a fucking millionaire, like in the 50s. Yeah. Like this guy lives in a trailer with his kids running around.
I'm a private jet guy. That's what I am.
This is wild. I see. He said, you don't see much of that in hospitals. They don't seem to go much for Oysters Rockefeller either. I'm a fancy guy.
That's a fun name of a dish to say. But I bet upwards 75% of people don't even know what the fuck that means.
I think you're absolutely correct.
And they say that statistics, 88% of statistics are made up on the spot, but I guarantee you 3 out of 4 people don't know what the fuck Oysters Rockefeller is.
No, not now.
No.
Back in the day, that was like
in the 20s and 40s. It was probably very popular.
Even by like the 60s and all of that was like
people were familiar.
It was like a cliche fancy food.
Okay,
you know what I mean? Oh well, it's not Oysters Rockefeller or anything, but I made a nice meal. You know what I mean? But that nobody eats Oysters Rockefeller anymore. No one knows what the fuck that is. If you see that on a menu, you're in a very old restaurant.
Yeah, you're in a very old restaurant, and congratulations on being successful.
Yeah, that's the well, maybe it could be an old restaurant that's not successful anymore.
It could be. I don't think it's a Denny's though. You know what I mean?
No.
It's a pretty nice place.
It's it could just be like an old fashioned, like some of those old steakhouses we hit when we go on tour. Like they'll have like oyster, but it's more of like, oh, look at that, that's nostalgic.
There it is.
Yeah, look at that. But I'm not ordering it.
Fuck no.
No, don't want that. So he said, in the past 2 years, I've had 10 injuries where I've had to have major operations. Jesus, I broke my left arm, my right arm, ankle, foot, my right shoulder. He goes through his whole list. He says that there's a rumor that he's going to retire, but he's like, absolutely not. Are you kidding me?
He started that rumor.
Yeah. How can he retire? He has no money. What's he going to do? So
retire from this and get a day job is what you're going to do.
That's fuck, man. So he talks about how some of the races there's no way to practice and all this kind of thing. And so they're like, well, there's no way to like do a practice run, like how do you do it? You shouldn't do that. Yeah. And he said, well, I mean, what am I supposed to do? I'm not a quitter. So, I got to go do it. The people paid, they're sitting there.
Works, though,
yeah. I mean, it's the same, like in stand up, back in the day, we've walked into some scenarios where you're like, "Oh, this isn't very good at all for this. This is like
go so bad.
This is going to go so bad. There's fucking cars going right behind the people. There's like a TV on. There's all the factors, and you're like, I mean, I'm here and I got to do it. Though I said I would fucking do it. I'll give it a run. Fuck it. I mean, granted, at the end, we're not wheeled away to the hospital with fucking compound fractures, but. Yeah.
A lot of times there was $10 like though, and that was nice.
There was $10. That's the thing. Got $10 for gas money to get here. Yeah.
Fucking did it.
Did it. And you felt good.
This cost me nothing.
And you felt good about that too. I did when I first started. That felt good. You were like, I
got laughs and it cost me nothing.
Cost me nothing. Free. I got to go to work for free. Yeah.
They paid me back for what I spent to get here.
That's why when you see a comedian on stage for a crowd and is a successful comedian, that's a sick person. Because they've done
horrible things.
So much. When you see us on stage, we come to a live show, you can go, they're sick. How did they get here?
Disgusting.
They did awful things to get here.
There's
My
something wrong
God.
with that person.
Jesus, for free for years, abuse.
For years.
I mean, we're like the Gimp in Pulp Fiction. Like that's.
Well, we don't need a ball gag because we're smiling and enjoying it.
Yeah, that's the thing. Well, yeah, the ball gag keeps the jokes from coming out, so they take it off for us to perform at least. Oh God. That's fucking funny. Oh man. So this reporter's talking to Evel, and a phone call comes. That's a friend of his, and he's talking to him, and Evel laughs and then hangs up the phone. And the reporter said, "What happened?" And Evel said, "The guy told me, sorry, we won't be there to see you jump on Friday, but we'll see you in the hospital on Saturday."
Oh, we'll pop in with some balloons.
Which is hilarious. You know he's going to.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's in Vancouver trying his 12-car leap. here. By the way, he talks about all these articles about him, like basically one article just like kind of references another article, which references another article, which references another article. And at the core of this, at the beginning of this fucked up game of telephone, was Evel Knievel doing his own PR.
Wow.
So by the end of it, it's been in so many newspapers, it's just a fact at that point. You know what I mean? That that lives this kind of lifestyle and he's rich and he's this. It's just shit he said.
Wow.
It's crazy.
Nobody knew that, right?
No, I assume, but I don't even think
That's
these
how
reporters.
legends start, though.
That's what I mean, and I don't think these reporters gave a shit because it was a fun story.
It's a story,
and it's nothing important. It fills the space.
It's hurting nobody except for him.
Yeah, and what's it hurting? Fucking people who are going to pay $5 to watch him jump. Right. They're going to get to see what. One thing about Evel, he's full of shit. He's a scammer, a schemer, a scumbag, all this shit. But if you paid money to go to a show and he is physically able to be fucking lifted onto a motorcycle, he's going to fucking fling himself off a ramp. Yeah. He's going to do it.
He's going to come off of point A. We don't know where point B will be, but you'll see point A.
You will see this motherfucker try something crazy, which, you know, can't say that for everybody. He at least does what he says he's going to do when it comes to that, which, you know, that's a big deal. Yeah. So this,
you know, and it's a genius ploy and game that he's doing because there's no competition. He's got the market cornered. That's number one. And if you can jump 13 cars once, you can jump 13 cars again just by physics and math. This worked, so it's going to work again. So he can duplicate this in so many ball fields and stadiums. He can do this at halftime at NFL fucking games.
And that's
this could have been a forever thing.
The problem is every time you jump 13 cars, it's not exactly the same.
Right.
So there's always a factor that can go wrong and you crash no matter what. Yeah. So that's the problem.
The other problem is with TV. If I've seen him jump this at the Cowboys halftime game, I don't want to be at the Redskins game and see the same shit. Same totally. You better make it 14 cars. And that's the problem there. Is that it's,
you can't.
You gotta go up.
And then it's wrestling at that point. It's wrestling. And I jumped off of this and I did 8 flips onto you. Well, the next week I got to go higher. And now you've gotten to a point where they've had to take it back down again because you can't go any higher without these people dying on live television. So
and now it's not
can't
a
one
world
up yourself.
Record. And nobody wants to watch somebody jump for not the world record.
And that's why he's got to keep talking about the Grand Canyon and shit like that because that's something different.
And that's what he ended up doing. I think. I don't remember for sure, but it felt like he was just kept like each jump was if it's not the record, what it is training and getting my body conditioned so that I can do the Grand Canyon jump. Yeah, and so at least there's an end point at some other place where it's a wild spectacle. I got to watch Evel do his run up to whatever. You know what I mean?
And also that you might get to see a spectacular crash. I mean, that's just. You don't get to
see him do his last jump.
That's the other thing too. That's the big draw of Evel is this guy could be dead today. Like you could watch a man die, and that draws a crowd. I don't know what it is.
He may never jump 19 box trucks because he might die jumping 12 fucking Mercury Cougars.
Yeah, he might be like that one guy who crashed into the ramp. That poor bastard. So this article says, and this is just his PR. It says, quote, he's the guy who has built fame on broken bones by jumping a motorcycle over a long row of cars. He's the best there is because nobody else has the guts to make a living in midair. He's the one and only. He makes gobs of money. This 31-year-old native of Montana does, and Hollywood is doing a movie on his life. So he has it made, right? Yeah, he said he has a career that is a lighted fuse, and he knows it. And he says, quote, Evel says, they don't come to see me die, they come to see me jump. But I get it if they want to be there. So just come. I don't care why you're coming. Yeah. Just fucking show up.
Ticket. Yeah.
Which is it. That's the old, I don't care which. I don't care if they're fucking
the records.
lighting our records on fire. Yeah, motherfuckers paid for it. They can do whatever the fuck they want. Yep. June 20th, 1970 here. The headline in the Daily Chronicle is, quote, Knievel survives.
Damn it.
I don't want any job where that's the headline, that you survived a day at work, and that's a newspaper headline.
Shohei Ohtani survives. Oh, well, what?
That is fucking hilarious. Right under that, though, you can get some, we got sales, Jimmy. The sales in 1970, Albertsons If you're in the Canadian area up here, there's an Albertsons in the Northwest.
What's the Albertsons in Canada?
Oh no, this is not. This is in America. This is in Washington. Okay. Yeah, because it's USDA choice. That would be not that.
Canadians wouldn't give a fuck.
They're like, I don't know what does that mean? They go, what does that mean? So we got chuck steak, USDA choice, 59 cents a pound.
Oh, Jesus.
We got beef liver, and this is the grossest thing I've ever heard. Beef liver, quote, young and tasty.
Oh.
I don't. Never apply the words young and tasty to anything, please. Anything.
When they put that on a turkey at Thanksgiving,
young
where it says
and
young
tasty
turkey, I'm like, I don't want that. It says young and juicy.
This says young and tasty. And it's liver. It's gross.
Yeah. God damn it.
49 cents a pound. And arm cut. What the fuck is that?
That's not from a cow.
Cows don't have arms. What? Arm cut chuck steak tender.
The only thing with an arm is a person, isn't it?
I don't know. I've never heard of arm steak. That's not a cut we use nowadays, I don't think. The old arm steak.
It comes from where
the buffalo wings come from.
That saggy shit.
Yeah, is that it? What the fuck, man? I don't know what's happening here, but you can get motor oil for $1.37 a gallon. A gallon?
A gallon?
Quart. Oh yeah. No, 20 to 30 weight, 2-gallon tins are $1.37. You get 2 gallons of oil for $1.37.
A gallon in a tin. Oh, I know what it is. Yeah, it's the rectangular one. Yeah.
Yeah, like a big olive oil container.
For like how much?
$1.37.
That's great.
That's so much oil. You could drown a man in oil with that for $1.37. And also, what do we got? Head and Shoulder shampoos, $1.27. Okay. Wow. We got tomatoes, medium slicers. I guess medium and meant to be sliced, 29 cents a pound. 5 heads of lettuce for $1.
What a time to be alive.
5 heads of I mean, but the salary was like, you made $12,000 a year. So you needed to buy 5 heads of lettuce for $1. So it was tough.
At a time, yeah.
99 cents for watermelon, juicy, red, and ripe. But is it young and tasty? That's the question.
Juicy, red, and ripe.
And then it gets worse. Peaches, sweet and juicy yellow meat. That sounds like a soldier in Vietnam going, I like that sweet and juicy yellow meat. Get me some of that on R&R this weekend. It's from like Full Metal Jacket, isn't it?
A pedophile watched Pippi Longstocking and said that red line.
Yeah, I think he did. Yeah. Juicy, red, and ripe. Holy
fucking
shit.
Christ, I
what is
hate
going
it.
on, Albertsons? Albertsons
Somebody
dirty.
writing this ad copy has to
Filthy.
know that can be taken a terribly, terribly awful way.
I would think so. Even the lettuce, it says solid heads, fresh and tasty. It sounds like dicks, right? This is crazy, right? I'm not the wrong one here. I'm not the pervert. This is weird.
That yellow meat gives solid head.
It gives solid head on the yellow meat. What the fuck, man?
Christ.
It is young and tasty. I'll say that much.
Wow.
So the next article is July 8th, 1970. Evel Knievel is back in the hospital.
Here he goes.
Yeah, he's back at it again, it says. The fearless maverick of the motorcycle set went through another of his routine's hair-raising adventures. Now he's laid up in a hospital here after fracturing part of his spine in Seattle over the weekend. Wow. While trying to vault his cycle over the tops of 19 Datsun automobiles. He didn't make it. Knievel says, quote, it's only a broken back.
Okay.
As one does.
Yeah.
I plan to be in twin.
Happens to house all of your central nervous system nerves that tells your whole body what to do.
All of that stuff, sends. It's cool. He says, I plan to be in Twin Falls, Idaho within a week to warm up for a jump over the Snake River Canyon. The doctor says, you 6 weeks. And he says, I'll
do it next Monday.
So they said, well, your doctor says 6 weeks. And he says, quote, I'm not even supposed to be breathing anymore, according to some MDs.
Oh,
so
very fun. Yeah. I should be dead, so who gives a shit?
Who cares? He's like all
the house's money.
He's like an 88-year-old lady who smokes 2 packs a day. She's like, made it this far. Fuck you, sweetheart. Have that. I don't know what to tell you. They seem to be working for me. Yeah. Yeah, like the dad in Grumpy Old Men. That guy.
Imagine this. You help your little brother land a great job abroad. But when he arrives, the job doesn't exist. Instead, He's trapped in a heavily guarded compound, forced to sit at a computer and scam innocent victims, all while armed guards stand by with shoot-to-kill orders. Scam Factory, the explosive new true crime podcast from Wondery, exposes a multi-billion-dollar criminal empire operating in plain sight. Told through one family's harrowing account of sleepless nights, desperate phone calls, and dangerous rescue attempts, Scam Factory reveals a brutal truth. The only way out is to scam their way out. Follow Scam Factory on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can binge all episodes of Scam Factory early and ad-free right now by joining Wondery Plus.
What if everything we thought we knew about justice was wrong? In This Is Actually Happening's new series, A World Beyond Revenge, we explore a radical idea that justice can be about healing, not just punishment. Through 5 powerful stories, we meet people who've experienced unimaginable harm and those who caused it as they come together to seek something radical: healing. From a man tortured for a crime he didn't commit to a woman who misidentified her attacker. These stories will change the way you think about justice, forgiveness, and the possibility of a better world. Follow This Is Actually Happening on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen to This Is Actually Happening ad-free right now by joining Wondery Plus.
So he is negotiating for a Snake River jump now in Idaho.
Okay.
He's in negotiations for the purchase of property just downstream from Shoshone Falls, where he plans to jump the Snake River Canyon on a steam jet-powered cycle, they're calling it now. Mm-hmm. He had earlier announced he had purchased the property, but the property owner said, nobody bought shit from me. This is my property. I don't know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Literally what happened. So he visited Twin Falls last year and expressed a desire to jump the canyon near the Perrine Memorial Bridge. This was deemed impossible since some of the property was government owned.
Right.
So he's now trying to purchase private property where he would construct a 1/4-mile runway for the takeoff. It was reported he was in Twin Falls about 2 weeks ago studying the site. He doesn't study anything. So he drove by at 80 miles an hour and went, that looks good. That's studying.
That'll do.
Yeah.
That looks flat enough.
They make it sound like he's down, like squatted down, like holding dirt in his hands, like go through his fingers to see how the grip
He's got
is.
a survey guy out there
Yeah.
with one of those roto things.
Yeah, he's looking, he's telling Evil how it goes. Evil's writing down, fucking
9-degree down slope.
longitude, latitude numbers and shit. Yeah. I don't think that happened. So, yeah, he said he's going to reach 300 miles an hour and fly over this fucking thing. So here we go, July 25th, 1970. Evil slates jump at Firebird Strip tonight. This is in Idaho here. He will shoot for a 14-car jump, and Orville the Clown will blast himself with a TNT charge and a pair of headline co-features at the Firebird International Speedway tonight.
What does that mean?
I have no idea, but
He's going to take himself apart in front of everybody? I don't think that's happening.
I would pay to blow up a clown. That I'd pay to watch that. So
maybe he's shooting himself out of a cannon or something?
He's going to blast himself with a TNT charge. I don't know what that means. Explode
It's gotta
yourself?
be that, right?
It has to be. Otherwise, you're exploded. I would think it's...
The thing about TNT is that it will fucking kill you.
Wait, I think this is the one where he sits on like a chair on top of it or something, and there's like a plate to keep the shrapnel from. Like, yeah, I think I've seen this before, actually.
Or is it the guy in the car? Because I've seen that too.
Oh, in the car, I don't know. I've seen.
There's one in a car. There's obviously a cannon, and then the
I've never obviously the cannon. Oh, that's a classic. The cannon, obviously.
The classic cannon.
Obviously, the classic cannon out there. So yeah, that's I don't know what's going on there. So he's blowing himself up, and then Evel Knievel. So you might see 2 deaths, I think, is the draw here. Right? It's like $8, and you might see 2 people die.
That's pretty much the advertisement. Possibly 2 bodies,
and in crazy ways too. That's the other thing.
Have you ever seen one body? We're going to show you 2 with explosions and a motorcycle.
How about that? You want to see a man splat to his death and be exploded to death? Both wearing silly outfits, by the way. That's the other thing.
Meanwhile, a crash on a motorcycle on the freeway at 65
Horrifying.
will make you turn your head and you will not look at it. But this guy's going to do 300 and
Yeah.
we're going to be glued to it.
That's the thing. If you crash going 60, everybody turns their head. If you crash
Yeah.
going 300, people come at you with $10 in their hand. They'll take a gander now for a couple of bucks.
Put this in your pocket and I won't
Holy,
look away.
yeah, please let me see
I won't
this.
even blink.
I got to see what this looks like.
The next 8 hours, I'm going to put toothpicks in
Yeah,
my
I
eyes so
think
that I
so.
don't blink and miss it.
I think as a 60-mile crash could happen to you, a 300-mile-an-hour crash through the air.
Only him.
I'm not doing that. This dumb fuck's on his own. You know what I mean? I don't know who this idiot is. So, the Idaho Statesman now has an article on the 26th of July saying Knievel to start work on Twin Falls ramp. He doesn't own the property.
He doesn't have the
He
permits
has-
or no reason to be there.
No, he has
That would
no.
be trespassing if he did.
If he just showed up on another man's property and started building a ramp, that wouldn't be okay. And number two, he doesn't have any fucking money to build a ramp.
No.
This is
That's a lot of wood.
quarter-mile ramp. Do you know how expensive that would be? You'd need engineers for that. You can't just get people to come out and just build a quarter-mile ramp, right?
Yeah.
That's something
I mean,
you'd...
you got to know the trajectory and the slope that goes up. You can't
yeah.
it can't just be like a half pipe, you know?
So yeah, I want somebody
that'll
with one
put
of
you the
those
wrong direction.
square things, and they're like drawing on it. I want
Yeah.
the whole. I want it.
Somebody's got to know exactly how far this angle needs to be for me to land on the
Yes.
other one.
Tell me in math I don't understand why this is going to work or not work. That's
Right.
what I want from you.
Because if I overshoot the ramp, I'm fucked. If I undershoot the ramp, I'm super fucked. Like, I got to land on that ramp.
Otherwise, I'm dead.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he says that since I will take off on my land and finish the jump on Bureau of Land Management property, we'll have to get clearance on that end as well. And I've been told that this is forthcoming. He doesn't own the property, and he hasn't gotten the permission to land on the other side yet. He has. There's literally nothing. He has an idea that he'd like to jump a canyon. That's all he has.
And he's saying some things that are not necessarily accurate because BLM land, you can just go out on it. I don't know that
You can't
I don't
commercially
know if jumping
land
onto it.
Yes.
I don't know if the entrance has to be a specific way.
I don't think you can land on it in a flying jet motorcycle
Yeah.
in a commercial endeavor. I don't think that's all right, probably. You can probably walk onto it or drive onto it, but
Yeah.
I think you have to be on the ground the whole time, I feel like. You
Right.
can't
you
fly
can't
in
just
there.
arrive in the middle of this plot of land.
No, and maybe kill yourself
Yeah.
on it, by the way, too,
Right, you can't.
which is also a bit of a liability.
Probably get ticketed for littering if you just leave a body there.
He said engineers are trying to stake out the land early in the week and will start on the road and the ramp as soon as this is complete. Because the other part of this is to get things here, there's no road to the edge of the Snake Canyon.
Right.
So you got to have trucks that bring in things,
Through the desert.
porta potties,
Land.
equipment, and things to
Yeah.
build, camera equipment, lights, seats, things of that. So you need you need fucking corduroy roads here, so these 18-wheelers could. Now it's a huge project. This is a giant thing he's talking about. This isn't just.
You're essentially putting up a stadium that has to be taken down.
A stadium without walls, basically, is what you're doing. You're bringing in all the same stuff, and you got to be able to get it to there. So let's talk a little bit about his outfits at this point. All right. Okay. Now, he was known for his leather jumpsuits always, and his cape, because you asked about that last time. Yeah, he did. He added the cape around this time.
It's a mini cave.
Yeah, because it can't get caught in the motorcycle wheel, obviously. If he had a big cape, it'd be.
You got one that hangs down to like his ass.
Imagine him just being torn off his seat backwards as he.
Also, it creates drag. So if you get up in the air and now your cape
that's something.
pulls you back, that's not good.
I don't think he concerns himself with matters
Probably
of math like that.
But
He's
if you've got,
what am I losing? Feels the same.
An engineer that draws up a certain length that you can jump, and then you now add a fucking 6-foot cape to that.
Evil's response to that is, fuck out of here with that.
I'm flying.
I'll
Shut
fly.
up.
Don't worry. I'll make it work. So they were always compared to the Elvis Presley jumpsuits because it's very similar. They're like tight fitting and a similar type of thing. He switched to the white suit after he switched motorcycles to the Triumph is when he switched to the white suit, because he had the black and yellow before that.
Right.
And in interviews, he said the reason he switched was because he saw how Liberace was a big influence on him here.
Really?
Liberace was a performer and a showman. Like, one thing you got to give Liberace is, like, I don't know about his music or whatever, but he would come out with like 4, showgirls on each arm, and every finger was full of big diamonds. And I mean, you looked at him like there was nobody was going to look away from this. Like, what the fuck is this guy?
That's a spectacle.
Which if you're in like a daredevil type thing, that's you got to be a spectacle. So he said that Liberace had become not just a performer, but the epitome of what a showman should be. The full thing, you know what I mean? So he said that's what he was trying to create, his own showmanship like that.
Okay.
So he has 2 variations of the white suit, one with 3 stars across the chest and one with 3 stars on his right chest. And the 3 stars on the right chest was the one he wore at Caesar's Palace.
Vertical, yes?
I think so, yeah, down.
Yeah, they go up and down, yeah.
So he switched to another motorcycle in 69, and switched his leathers and that's when he did like the red, white, and blue jumpsuit with the X across the chest. So that's when he got into that. And then he adjusted the blue stripes to a V shape. And that is, you see that in the film that he uses there. And for the remainder of his career, variants of the V-shaped white star jumpsuit would be a constant, including a special nylon canvas flight suit that matched his white leathers.
Oh.
Each variant would be more elaborate, and then he put the red, white, and blue cape, the big Elvis belt buckle with the EK initials on it.
Yeah.
And in 75, he premiered the blue leathers with red stars on the white stripes for the Wembley Stadium jump when he went to England. Yeah. So that's his deal. He's always, which again, he's investing in himself though, and trying to.
Yeah, and those suits are not cheap.
No,
they're very elaborate, and the EK is even like really.
Something.
It's really
it costs money.
Yeah.
Again, back to wrestling, and it's because it's a similar thing. There's really no inherent interest. You have to make interest. You know what I mean? So in wrestling nowadays, it's a little bit different because they kind of dress in like outfits. But like in the 70s, 80s, and even into the 90s, guys with the big robes, like the big Ric Flair robes, a lot of those robes were $10,000 a pop back then. Right. Which is a lot of fucking money in 1987. Yeah. You know what I mean?
But it
these
gets
guys
people's
had
attention.
That's the thing. You invest in yourself because that's how you move up the card. Is that guy looks like a main eventer? He doesn't look like a first. Look at him. He's got $10,000 robe on. He's not a fucking opening match guy. So
and
it
really
helps.
though, the black and yellow is like the cool one.
Yeah, that was the badass one.
Yeah, it looks badass. Like the other one just kind of looks fucking, I don't know.
It's very Fat Elvis, the other one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's also very mass appeal.
Yes.
And very America.
The black,
red, white, and blue.
Totally. Yeah. The black and yellow look like fuck all of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the other one is I represent all of
Go
you.
Steelers. That's what it looks like.
Right. Yeah. Take somebody's fucking head off.
Fuck all of you. Go Pens. Sidney Crosby. All right.
Yeah, it's just a very, I don't know, motorcycle gear tends to lean to black and yellow too, because you got to have some sort of accent to it, and yellow looks fucking best with black. That
looks cool. They pop.
Together.
Yeah, they pop.
Yeah, but black specifically because with motorcycles comes grease oil and
what I always
exhaust.
thought,
and it doesn't leave marks.
My
on your
thought
fucking clothes.
on the black always was, well, there's a lot of grease around, and if you're like working on something or something,
there's a lot of shit. I could touch something. I could brush my leg against this tire, flicking it over the side of the bike, and now I got shit all over my white pants.
That's what I mean. You can't have that.
You wear black, and you can't see it.
That makes a lot of sense. So finally, here's a newspaper article, August 8th, 1970, and it says, he's found a bigger crevice, which is hilarious, number one.
Gross.
Is it young and tasty, though? That's the question. It says,
is there ripe yellow meat?
Is it yellow meat? Is it ripe, tasty yellow meat? Evel Knievel won't jump Grand Canyon on cycle, but rather than because he can't, he's making it because he found a better thing to do.
Yeah.
Which is pretty fucking hilarious. He wants to. He said he keeps doing it. They're like, so what happened? Did you chicken out and all this type of shit? And he said, no. I bought myself another piece of land. He said, I bought a piece of the Snake River Canyon. He said, it's not quite as deep as the Grand Canyon, but, it's still pretty fucking deep. Yeah. We get different crevices, different problems, Right. More crevices, more problems. That's what they say.
That's what they say,
So he's in the Poconos, by the way, in Pennsylvania there.
Really?
Yeah, that's where this article is. So these people.
This is the first time he's been east of the Mississippi.
It is absolutely the first time, and it's a big deal the first time he's been. He's all fucked up for this race, too, from what I remember from the book, but he has to do it because he's like, I'm not coming all the way here. They dragged all their equipment all the way across the country. He's like, I'm not going to not do it now. That would be, fucking insane at that point. So anyway, he says also that he doesn't like to be put to sleep. So now he's saying that he stays awake for his operations.
Stop it.
That's his new. It's not even good enough to go, I'm so crazy, I'll throw myself over 15 cars. I don't care if I fucking have compound fractures in my spine. But now he's like, I don't even need to be put under to be in surgery for him. Come on, man.
In fact, I prefer it. I need to feel it.
And it feels good. But people buy this horse shit.
Let me ask you, do you turn your car into the mechanic and then just go sit in the lobby, or do you go watch him do it? You know what I mean? I prefer, as Evel Knievel, to stand in the garage.
I want to know.
And watch him fix the A-arms.
Yeah, I'm paying for this surgery. I want to make sure you're doing all the work I paid for.
I want to make sure he doesn't just put some old struts back in this car.
Is that a new fuel filter? That's a new one, right? Okay.
You just trust people to put a new arm on you?
Those are brand new rotors, right?
You didn't just turn those, you cheap son of a bitch, you crooked bastard.
These are the first time you put the screw in somebody, right? You didn't take these out of a corpse, correct? Jesus Christ. He said, Blue Cross canceled me. Look, I broke this shoulder again yesterday when I fell off a truck. Will I lose my nerve? Not till I'm 40. And I've got 2 sons, 9 and 7, both starting on bikes.
This man's sub 40.
Oh, yeah. He's 32 at this point.
Holy
or 31 or something. He says a couple of Hell's Angels threw a tire iron at me when I was trying to jump in California. I sent 15 of them to the hospital. Calm down, Evel. Your naval heavyweight boxing champion bodyguard, and half the crowd sent 15 of them to the hospital. That's who did. He did have the balls to get off.
Credit, yeah.
He's got the balls to get up and fought the guy, but he didn't send 15 of them.
For every co.
Yeah, all of them. Those are all mine. All the guys laying down. He goes, "Yep, that's me. I put all these guys down."
Yeah.
That is goddamn hilarious, man. So he says that when he makes his big jump, he says it's going to be nationally televised, the Snake River thing. It's going to be a big deal. He said, I'll be an instant millionaire.
Okay.
Yep. He says he's in it for the money. Definitely. He says, but I'll do it anyway without the money. Yeah.
Don't ever say that.
Never tell anyone that.
Don't do it until it's done. Then tell them you would have done it for free, you fucking idiot.
Yeah, then go, that was great. Would have done it for free. I tell him after the check clears. So he then flashes the reporter his diamond rings. By the way, he becomes real, big on the showy shit.
Really?
Jewelry
bling. Yeah.
And diamonds and just throwing money around. It's very important not only that everyone knows who he is and all of that, it's also important that they go, wow, what a rich bastard.
Look at him.
Look at him. He can do anything. He says this one, pointing at his ring, is one of 4 stones of its kind. And he says,
it's not just that it's a diamond. There's only 4
only
like
4.
this
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
You
4.
might have a diamond, but it's not like this one.
They decapitated the child who pulled them out of a fucking mountain too.
That's how. Want you to know where he got them.
There's blood diamonds, and then there's these. These are a whole other level of blood diamond. I have a picture of the child they murdered. His name was Jeremy. There he is. Weird that his little African child be named Jeremy, but that was his name. And
they killed him so that even the guy that supplies the diamonds doesn't even know where to get these diamonds.
No. And plus, it's part of it. You get the picture of the child killed, and it makes you know that you're a big man who got something very important.
I got a Jeremy.
There he is.
He went to Jeremy.
Yep. He went to Jeremy.
Oh, that feels so gross to say out loud.
It is. Well, that's why his name's Jeremy, so he's not real.
Poor Jeremy, the fictional blood diamond.
There are no blood diamond children named Jeremy, I bet. I bet you. How many in history? You didn't picture the kid that actually does it when I said Jeremy, did you? No. You know who you pictured.
But he's dead, that's why.
He's fucking dead. Evel goes on to say, I always carry $200 or $300 bills around with me. Mm-hmm. You know, because I'm a big shot. Which,
2 or 3.
Which in 1971, $300 on you was like, carrying around $3,000 now or something on you, which, they say hyperbole is Knievel's specialty. But after all is said and done, he's the one guy who will go flying up a ramp at 75 miles an hour, soaring over 18 Pepsi Cola trucks. Not only does he talk about it, he does it. In fact, he delights in watching films of some of his more excruciating maimings. He says, I think I'll live to be 40.
Oh.
That's what he says. He's wrong. Yeah. So then he talks about the rocket bike. He's now calling it the Spirit of America. That's the name of it. Yeah. He's out of his fucking mind. Went from a jet cycle to a fucking rocket bike. Now it's the Spirit of America.
Genius marketing, though. God damn.
Oh, he is. He's full of shit as they get. He said, I won't be in a closeted canopy, though. I'll parachute out at a specified time. The way I figure it, both myself and the bike will land some quarter of a mile across on the other side. He's out of his fucking mind. This is ridiculous. And he doesn't have any land, doesn't have any of that.
Doesn't have any opportunity or ability to do this at all. Doesn't even have the cycle.
No, has not. No, God, no. That is that's the other thing. It is just a concept at this point.
Right.
They're still trying to build it. He hasn't paid anybody anything for expenses or
just talking about it.
It's just talking about it. He then breaks his hand during that Pocono run. Remember he's in the Poconos for all this? He broke his hand on that one. Okay. He tried to jump over 13 cars, missed on his landing, and got a broken hand and some broken ribs.
But for all of his misses, he still hits the ramp. You know, like he's still not that Billy Badfish and the broken ramp. That guy, what was his name?
I can't remember. Yeah. I don't know. For the most part, if he had a bike that was made for landing after flying 100 feet in the air, he would probably be fine.
Probably.
Most of these are just the bike is not made to land like that or do any of this shit that you're doing.
He's jumping like a Sportster. It's an iron ass bike.
It's a road bike. It's just a road bike. It's not a stunt bike. It's fucking crazy. There is no such thing as a stunt bike back then.
Right.
You'd have to make one.
A stunt doesn't exist.
If he made friends with the Hells Angels, they could probably build him one. They knew what they were doing, but he's too busy sending them all to the hospital.
Cashing in on co-pays.
Man, he's then in Buffalo, and it says Evel Knievel will jump cycle over 8 trucks here. That's not a lot of trucks. I wonder if they're big trucks. They must be huge.
18-wheelers lined up in a row.
They are speed only. Blah, 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 blah. What are they? Are they? I don't know. I don't know what they don't say.
Trucks, Pepsi
they have to be over.
It's got to be something with a product on the side to get paid.
8 9-foot wide trucks.
Wow.
So that's like big box trucks. That's a lot of truck. Yeah. That's probably 15 cars.
How many of them are there? 9?
8. 8 trucks.
72 feet?
That's a decent amount.
64? 8 by 8? What is that?
8 times 8 is 64. Right? Yeah, for sure. Okay. So that's a long way, I guess, because you got the other shit. So he said, I was stopped from jumping my jet cycle across the Grand Canyon because the government said it would disturb the wildlife.
Yeah.
That's not even close to what happened, Evel, but okay. It's like this fucking EPA and all that, because they just came out with it. That he says, injuries, well, I total about 3 cycles a year. I wear a 13-inch, 1.5-pound steel plate in my left leg and a steel plate in my upper left arm. 2 screws hold my right ankle together. 2 more, my right shoulder. My teeth aren't my own.
Okay.
As you would expect.
That's probably because you didn't brush them. But the other is that if you take the
screws out, they got knocked out easier.
They probably, the bones have probably fused and healed. It's not like.
Maybe.
It's not like he's got, you know what I mean?
Before he snaps them again.
He's got plates. I don't know.
These guys said he got a couple of plates there.
Yeah.
So, he's all fucked up, though. And by the way, he's injured in Buffalo as well. Crashes there, too. So that's 2 in a row here. That's not good.
No.
Just a bruised hip and some possible internal injuries, though. So he'll be fine. They said, though, it's the bike suddenly went out of control and zoomed on Main Street. The brakes failed as the machine hit a passing car. The driver, are you kidding me?
What?
Wow. Injury suffered in a mishap Friday in the parking lot of WKBW TV. He was doing a TV spot. Yeah. He was
cordon off the area?
No, he was warming up the motorcycle. He was dicking around in the parking lot.
Okay.
Fucking off, and it went out of control and went into Main Street. The brakes failed, and he hit a car. So, yeah, he's pretty fucked up. That's fun. So they said the show's still going to go on, though. He'll be fine.
Yeah.
He'll be all right. And you can also see boats in action, it says there. I don't know what kind of action those boats would be in, but that's right under.
That sounds like he did that on purpose because brakes on a motorcycle, you have two. There are two master cylinders. There's a front and a rear, and you can absolutely 100% slow down with the engine. So that sounds to me like he hit it on purpose to get fucking press.
Probably publicity, yeah. I don't think he cares. Yeah, that'll make a big scene.
For sure.
That'll make a big scene.
Hit a car? Wow.
Christ, if he can't even ride his motorcycle around a parking lot, he's certainly going to die when he tries to jump these trucks. Let's watch.
And if the brakes fail, that's somebody else's fault. That's not Evel Knievel's fault. Knievel's still perfect. You
that's
know what
the
I mean?
thing. Hey, what are you going to do?
Wow.
I'm taking chances. My brakes aren't
Genius.
They won't even work. Yeah, he's diabolical, more like it. He's really. Yeah.
He's evil.
He should have just ran for office. Like this is what politicians do, and he has really nailed it. You can lie your ass off, and you can say, "Oh, it's crazy." He said, "I broke my right hand, some ribs, and some other stuff. Fractured a couple vertebrae in the Poconos. My next engagement is in Trenton, New Jersey. After that, I go to Rochester, to Buffalo. I'm booked for 3 years." Except if I get land in the Snake River, and then I, come up with that.
I got to put the Snake River jump off because I've got a gig in Buffalo.
Yeah, you know how it is.
3 years, okay.
He's memorable for other things, though, including 2 rings. One is gold and diamonds with a diamond motorcycle jumping over a cat's sapphire eye. That's worth about $7,500, Knievel said. The other's a more modest number. It's simply a diamond and gold and is worth only $2,500. The cane he carries is antique and gold-topped. It's worth about $3,500, he said. Liberace offered me that much. Like Liberace came to his house and said, Evel, I have to have your cane. I need it, Evel, please.
I can't have that made and buy and sell you over and over again, but I need that cane.
Why won't you sell it to me, Evel? I don't think so. And so he's such a fucking liar. That's what's wild.
It's beautiful because at the time you could lie like this and nobody
There's no
cares.
internet. No one can even tell.
Even if he got caught, nobody would give a shit because it's evil.
He's a fucking charlatan anyway. He's going to crash his motorcycle in a parking lot, then go to the next town. So who cares, And that's what they think. They think, who gives a shit? He said, I can crack a safe quicker with one hand tied behind me than you could eat a hamburger with both hands, he said. He's bragging about his old past. Yeah. He said he was also a card shark, but he doesn't play that much anymore. He said, I don't like to play cards unless I can cheat. Jesus Christ, man. So, he said he couldn't race because there was no money in it. And he said, I'll quit jumping when I'm 40, and then my sons will jump. He's already got them in this horrible fucking thing. And at least Robbie does there. So he says, I don't jump rattlesnakes anymore. Now I'm a businessman. He said, yeah. He said, well, his wife says, quote, well, maybe he doesn't save money, but he buys things that we could sell. Because they talk about, doesn't he spend a lot of money? It seems like he spends a lot. She said, well, I mean, it's assets, things we could sell if we need to.
Yeah, it's custom rings. These things are worth $10,000.
I mean, come on, Liberace's. Any of these things I want to get rid of, I just call Liberace. He sends 4 or 5 fucking showgirls over here to pick it up with a check in their hand, no problem.
We'll have a Liberace yard sale.
Just a private Liberace sale. Every newspaper in the country here has like an article about him and that he's going to come to town, or will he come to town, or are we going to see Evel, and all this type of shit here. The Kansas City Star has a big article here, and this is more about his lifestyle and more about his bullshit and his legend. They say Knievel sat comfortably in the plush cabin of his new truck today and talked bluntly. Nice. He said, anybody want a drink? You'll have to drink it out of the bottle. That's the only way I do it.
You got to drink after me and straight out of the bottle.
Straight out of the bottle. You're going to get whatever I got from that broad last night. That's on you.
The two of us will be in the same hospital.
They said he took a sip from the bottle at a vinyl upholstered bar. Wild turkey, he said, is what makes me jump so far, which is actually true.
Yeah.
It does. That's what makes him have the balls to do it.
Yeah. I don't know if he's bragging that it's good whiskey or if he's bragging that he drinks shit whiskey.
Yeah. Back then, I don't know if they knew. I think it was just
It's
wild.
probably middle of the road then.
Yeah, I think it was middle of the road, and especially for like a mining butte kind of guy, like that kind of town. Like Wild Turkey was probably the fancy one.
Butte, Montana guy, that's top shelf.
That's top shelf, yeah. Back in the day, back then. He said 2 months ago I was doing a TV show when the guy had a heart attack driving a car and ran right into me doing 40 miles an hour. That's what he's saying. That's what happened at the TV studio.
Okay. He got hit by a guy that had a heart attack?
He said a guy had a heart attack and ran into him going 40 miles an hour. He said, I was just standing there. No, you drove your motorcycle into a parked car. That's what you did. That is fucking wild. Wow. He said Knievel wrote a poem one time called Why, just because so many people asked him, why does he do it? Why does he do what he does? Ask him and he'll tell you it's probably for the same reason you do what you do. He says, I'll tell you one thing. I don't have any trouble making myself get up in the morning to go to work. I like what I do.
Hey everybody, we have some exciting news that we want to share. If you want to go on an adventure with Generation Y, we'd love for you to join us. January 26th through the 30th, 2026, we'll be sailing from Miami to the Bahamas on Wondery's first ever true crime cruise aboard the Norwegian Joy. Aaron and I will be there to chat, hang out, dive into all things true crime, and we're thrilled to be joined by some familiar voices in the true crime podcasting world. Surti and Hannah from Red Handed, Sashi and Sarah from Scamfluencers, and Carl Miller from Kill List. Super excited to hang out with them too. We got some cool activities, interactive mysteries we can solve, testing our forensic skills with a blood spatter expert, and so much more. So for some sun, fun, and just the right amount of mystery solving, come join us. If you'd like to know more and secure your spot, visit exhibitccruise.com for pre-sale information.
Megan Stoner was a young, passionate Republican and a self-proclaimed advocate for mental health. But behind her public persona lurked a master of deception. I'm Tiffany Reese, host of Something Was Wrong. In season 22, we're diving into the twisted world of a con artist who's been allegedly scamming and making false claims for over a decade. From the US to Canada, Megan Stoner has left a trail of devastation for her victims. But after a brief period of incarceration, she's now back out on the streets. And although she's free now, we're actively working with law enforcement to further justice for the victims of her alleged crimes. This isn't just another true crime story. It's a wake-up call about trust, deception, and the power of community to fight back. Follow Something Was Wrong on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can binge all episodes of Something Was Wrong Season 22 ad-free right now by joining Wondery Plus.
Well, because you don't get up in the morning, probably.
No.
You get up in the afternoon.
You get up at 2 p.m. with a strange girl stank on you and a wild turkey breath. Yeah. Nasty. He on all of his helmets, by the way, it says "Color Me Lucky" on the sides.
Yeah, that's
which is
thing.
Fucking funny.
Pretty cool name. Or pretty cool saying.
That's pretty cool, yeah. He said, if anybody can find anybody who'd insure me, I'd wish they'd let me know. That's why I buy these diamond rings and big trucks, so my family will have something to sell if I'm killed.
Why don't you just give him the cash, man?
You could have put it in like fucking IBM stock back then or something, or like
anything.
There was a lot of like, portfolio stuff, and you could have so many different ways to do that.
Wear my shit.
Oh yeah,
kids can have it after.
Oh man, he said, I'm the only guy Caesar's Palace ever paid in advance. So It's just because the guy offered it to him. He was like, okay, sounds good.
Well, that's so that we can at least pay you if you fucking die.
Yeah, that's, they only gave him half. He said,
Liberace's going to be alive after his show, man.
You know it. You're pretty sure he's going to be alive. It's a possibility. He said, when I jump, sometimes I can't collect later because I'm on the way to the hospital. That's what he's talking about. Then he's talking about more preparations here. And, he's talking about that. He's talking about everything. In Idaho, he said he is going to figure this out, the landing strips for his canyon jump. Okay. He said on a motorcycle with a steam jet behind him that he said will do 300 miles an hour. And he said, and you wouldn't believe this, but guess what we're using for water? Olympia beer. Tastes better than STP.
What?
I don't.
He's saying we're steam powering this jet
with cheap
the
beer
from the local region
with cheap local beer.
Pride. Yeah, we got local pride.
That shit is nasty, by the way, Olympia.
Yeah. That tells you how equivalent to water that beer is.
It's gross. It's bad, and it used to be in Arizona. I don't know if it still is, but they used to have it in Arizona because when we first,
never heard of it, I don't think.
My mom and stepdad, it came in a gold can. My mom and stepdad first moved out there. My stepdad was drinking that shit because he just drank cheap beer for some reason, and he was drinking. I remember I stole one once, and it was fucking gross. I was like, "This is a terrible beer. This is not good." He was putting those down. Yes. Oh man. So they said, well, what will you do for an encore once you've jumped a canyon? Then what do you do? And he said that, quote, I was going to buy a 747 jet instead of this truck, but Hefner beat me to it. I don't like to ride in airplanes, really. I don't like anything that I don't have control over.
So
totally off
the 747?
Yeah, he said he does not have the money to buy a jet.
And a 747, that's a lot of planes.
A giant plane. Yeah, not a Learjet, not a little fucking private plane.
That's $30 million.
That is fucking ridiculous. So they talked about his debut with his new motorcycle was at the Lions Drag Strip show outside Los Angeles, jumping 13 cars in front of 14,780 people. Yeah. And
also, jumping anything in a 747 isn't very impressive. I sat down on one of those, and the guy jumped the whole country.
Yeah, no, that's not what he means. He means to travel in, because he's not jumping the truck either.
All right.
The truck is to travel in.
Okay, got it.
To the gigs. He said he was going to do it by plane, but Hefner bought the plane, so he said, I guess I'll just drive.
Okay.
No other planes available. So,
got it.
Yeah, which is ridiculous. So they said that he crashed in his 3 previous jumps, the final one in August when he cracked a vertebrae, broke his shoulder and his hand at Pocono. And he said nothing here, nothing in his next 2 jumps of the year at the Houston Astrodome. He was fine. Okay. So he draws 14,780 people in L.A.
That's
on a drag
pretty good.
strip. That's a fucking crowd.
At a drag strip.
At a drag strip outside, of L.A.
Like in Pomona?
Yeah, some shit like that. Yeah. Like, that's crazy. So this is from the book about his fame. Said his evolving dance with good fortune started in 1971 with nothing less than breathtaking in either a good or bad way, depending on the point of view, for anyone who followed it. As he grew bigger and bigger, richer and richer, he added and changed luxury cars in a hurry. He bought mink and sable coats and designer clothes that startled the eye, bragged about his sexual conquests.
He's married, isn't he?
Oh, absolutely. His wife's next to him half the time when he's doing it, and she's just like, that's evil. I don't know.
Wow.
It's crazy. He liked to show his $55,000 worth of diamond rings on his right hand alone, topped by a diamond wristwatch. He had cheap replicas of the diamond rings made and gave them away or hid them in bars or did magic tricks and made them appear.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, he paid $100 to attendants when he pulled into parking lots and told them to keep spaces open on all sides around his latest Maserati. He gave $100 tips to waiters and barmaids. He called the managers of restaurants to his table and said he wanted to buy a drink for everyone working in the kitchen. Called.
That's cool. Yeah.
That's cool. An hour later, he called the manager back and said he wanted to buy another drink for everyone in the kitchen.
Oh,
right on.
Every hour I'm getting him another one.
Wow, this food's going to get worse over the course of the night, but that's all right. He said he's always on the move, going. Since he wasn't in the hospital after every other jump anymore, he could work out a true schedule. He was in Agawam, Massachusetts, in Hutchinson, Kansas, in Portland, Oregon, down in Tucson, back at Chicago, Oklahoma City, East St. Louis, Uniondale, New York, that's Long Island, Cleveland, St. Paul, Cincinnati. He crisscrossed the United States. He made money everywhere. He would jump in 4 different states within a single month. He would jump sometimes in the same city for 3 or 4 days in a row. Thing is, though, every place he went, he blew through the premises like a force of nature with money to spend. This is the thing. He is like spending this money before he even makes it. It's just like.
So if he's getting $10,000 for the weekend of 4 jumps,
he's going to spend 15 that weekend.
Yeah.
That's,
wow.
Yeah. That's the promoter, Ted Pollock, that worked with him in the past, said he came to Seattle for us. We were paying him $25,000. That's how far he had come. He eventually was too expensive for us after that. Anyway, he called and asked if I could pay him in cash. That was irregular, but I said it could be done. He jumped. I gave him the cash. I figured he needed it for something. He did. The next morning, he showed up to play golf at the Broadmoor in Colorado. He took the money out of the bag, the entire $25,000, and put it down on the first tee. He was ready to bet it all, and I think he did.
What?
First shot, $25,000. Who's going to be closer to the fucking tee? Who's going to be closer to the pin?
Oh my God.
He's nuts. That's what I'm saying. It's beyond a matter of I'm going to buy stuff. It's just he can't have money. It's just gone.
That's nuts.
It's insane. And that's the IRS is going to figure that out in a little while too. That I don't think he's putting half aside for fucking taxes and expenses and all that shit. So. January 8th, 71, it says Knievel eyes $1 million in 1971. He's trying to make $1 million, he said. He starts his $1 million conquest with a $25,000 appearance in the Astrodome Friday, and if he's still healthy, Saturday as well. So, yeah, he's going to do that. He says that's his goal. Knievel said that's why this thing has got me spooked. The chance you got to make it, the runway is the main thing. The track is rough, and that's a big damn problem, he said.
So he only has to jump 40 times in a year to make $1 million.
Yeah.
If he does it $25,000 at a clip.
But 40 times a year is a lot of times to jump and not hurt yourself
and not
to
make it, right?
To a point where you're going to out of action for a month or two.
Yeah.
So if you break your leg or something, what do you do at that point? You know. So that's the other thing. It's really difficult. You know. I don't know. He keeps talking about, by the way, that he could crack safes and all that kind of thing.
Yeah, but didn't he say before that he would steal the key, or you know, or he would know the combination? Remember,
or he would just break them.
Safe cracking. It's just
he said, but he's a liar. He says I hated to stop safe cracking because I got a thrill out of it. I wasn't a petty thief. I wouldn't rob a place unless it was big enough to have a night watchman. That made it more thrilling. Bullshit. You broke into your friend's bar and stole things.
Right.
So
$100 or whatever.
Yeah, he said that he was racing motorcycles. He said he was pretty damn good at it. All those first place trophies. No.
Not one.
No, but he has first place trophies on the wall of his trailer, even though he did not win those.
Where did he get those?
He had them made. You can have trophies made. If he has replica rings made, he can have trophies made.
Well, fucking why?
Say first place 1963. It's fucking ridiculous. He said, I've got 100 of them. But there wasn't enough money. And so he was dominating the racing field. Meanwhile, they said he never got paid more than the minimum for a race.
And he was terrible at it.
Yeah, fuck. He said, now this is different. I spent $300,000 last year. I'll make $500,000, maybe $1 million this year. It's according to how long I can keep going. So on January 8th and 9th, 1971, he set the record by selling over 100,000 tickets to back-to-back performances at the Astrodome. Friday and Saturday night. No, he sold 100,000 tickets.
Oh, okay. So $50,000 each.
50,000 tickets to each as the average.
There's no way he got the proceeds of that, right?
Fuck yeah, he does.
Did he?
That's his money. Yeah, or
he gets a 90 gate probably.
No, I think this is the one he said he got. I think that they're paying him a set amount. I don't think he's getting against the house. I think he's getting. He names a price and they pay him and hope they sell the tickets. Yeah, one of those things. Yeah, he sold. That's a shitload of tickets. I mean, Christ, made a lot of money. Probably you definitely made over $1 million. Probably. So that's
if he gets $10 a ticket.
I mean, the gate is over $1 million. Yeah, if the ticket's average price at 10, I don't know what a ticket went for that, but 1971, about the movie filming here.
Yeah.
All right. This is from the book, the first important Knievel moment in the production of the movie with George Hamilton came on February 28th, 1971. The script called for Hamilton/Knievel, him playing Knievel, to reflect on his life while preparing for a world record jump of 19 cars. So this is the Ontario Motor Speedway outside Los Angeles, and they said the story would jump back and forth from Ontario to the various bits of wackiness that led up to this moment. It's like the movie when Kevin Costner's pitching a perfect game. That's how they're going to fucking do it, essentially. So they said filming had already begun at Ontario and on the MGM lot. Hamilton as Knievel, 24-year-old Sue Lyon, best known for her role as James Mason's shockingly underage lover in Lolita, cast as Linda Knievel. Yeah. And this was the big money camera shot. Knievel, the real Knievel, was supposed to jump over those real American cars before a sellout crowd of 78,810 people. Because that's the shot for the movie they need. They don't have a stunt guy. There are no stunt people who are dumb enough to do this shit.
Yeah.
Stunt people need to know what the controlled thing is and how they're going to land. They don't just go all fucking wing it. They have it planned.
Right. How do I tumble? Right.
This guy, they're just flinging himself over cars willy-nilly. So this Knievel's going to do his own jumps here. And, they have this crowd because it's a NASCAR event. So they're going to jump before the NASCAR event. So they have 78,000 people there, which will look great on film. It'll look like they're all there for evil. So they said the people had mostly been lured by the first NASCAR Grand National racetrack in history, the Miller Lite High Life 500, which would be won by A.J. Foyt with Buddy Baker second, Richard Petty third. But Knievel was also an attraction. His jump would take place before the stock car race. By the way, the race, the winner got $207,000 of that race, which was the richest in stock car history, NASCAR history. Hamilton now came, because this is, he's there filming. Evil's doing his thing, and he's there with Evil. Hamilton spent the time before the jump with Knievel in the trailer/dressing room. The time did not go well. Wild turkey was involved. Okay.
Oh.
This is Hamilton. Knievel was drinking and kept talking about the different things involved in the jump. Aerodynamics, ballistics. He went on and on. I eventually decided he didn't give a shit about any of that. He was just getting drunk. That's why he was talking. He was drunk. He drank all day.
God damn.
He said as the time approached to perform the jump, Evel Knievel became skittish. He said that he might not be able to do it. The wind seemed excessive. And Hamilton said there was no wind, really. I don't know what you're talking about. Knievel said that...
Oh, you don't understand.
He said
You're standing next to the fan, Evil.
What do you do? Yeah, it's windy. He said the track conditions might not be right. And they said, what track conditions? Hamilton said the conditions were exactly what they were supposed to be. It's a fucking movie. They made it perfect. Everything would be ready. Knievel finally really said what he meant. He wanted more money to do the jump. He wanted to be paid more. So Hamilton was stunned. He pointed out that there was no more money. The budget under Joe Solomon had been stretched as far as it could go. Nothing else would arrive. The cast and crew still had to travel to Butte to film. There was no money. They're stretched on the movie. He said there's also no backup for this day, this crowd. Everything's in place. This is when the jump had to be done. This is it right now. So Knievel, dressed in his leathers already, said at last that maybe he would go outside and take a look at the setup, and then he'd decide. I don't know, maybe I'll look at it. He did have one obvious problem. He had jumped 9 cars the day earlier in practice in Ontario, and the handlebars had collapsed, and he had broken his right hand. He broke his motorcycle. Again, if the bike was made to take that, the handlebars wouldn't have collapsed. So Hamilton said, how will you jump with a broken hand? I'll tape it to the handlebars, Knievel said.
Holy shit.
In a tone he would use with a school kid. It's just logic, George. If your hand is broken, you tape it on. Yeah. Like, hey, what the fuck do you think I was going to do, stupid? Which, can you imagine if he falls off the bike and it's flying and he's being dragged by a hand that's taped to the fucking thing? That's horrifying. So when the actor and Daredevil stepped from the big rig, they were surrounded by photographers. The Daredevil did not like being surrounded, didn't like people in his face. He told them to back off. They didn't back off fast enough. They were photographers. He swung his cane and hit one of them with force.
You can't do that.
No, the photographer went down. It was an ugly moment.
Yeah, I believe it.
This is there's no way you don't go to jail for that nowadays.
This is the real evil, though. He's showing them who he is.
This is exactly who he is. Yeah. And Hamilton said Knievel had different canes. This one was really just a lead pipe. It could do some damage.
Oh my God, this is his assaulter.
Yep. This is his crowd clear. There had been nothing. There had been a thing too at the Astrodome where he'd used that cane on somebody. It wasn't nice to see. So this is multiple times in a month-long period that he's beating strangers with a lead cane and nothing. There's no consequences for this. Like, why wouldn't this guy think he could do whatever he wants? Because there's never any consequences.
Yeah, you tend to
his whole life.
behave the way the lessons you learn, and
nothing.
Nobody stops you from beating up cameramen with
lead
pipe.
Sean Penn doesn't do that still because he got fucking arrested for it in 1986 or whatever. That was what would happen. It's so weird. So Evel deemed the conditions right for the jump, and Hamilton noticed that the both the takeoff ramp and the landing ramp seemed off center, not where they were supposed to be. Knievel said that wasn't a problem. He's fine. It's good. And so he jumped. Drunk, with his right hand taped to the handlebars, he flawlessly cleared 18 Dodge Colts and 1 Dodge van. Not a Volkswagen. Dodge Colt. Oh, piece of shit. It's like, it doesn't matter if he lands on that.
Yeah.
To set another one of his world records. This one would remain for 27 years until it was broken by daredevil Bubba Blackwell, who cleared 20 cars on a Harley XR 750 on April 26, 1998 in Massachusetts. Other riders have jumped farther and jumped more cars, but not on that kind of bike.
No.
Saying he's the only guy to be able to do it on that equipment. Like anybody doing these jumps now, if you said, here, drive a 70s Harley fucking road bike, they go, what are you, out of your mind? I'm not jumping that thing.
I'll pay anybody.
Good luck.
2024 Road King. Jump it. I dare you.
Good luck. Yeah. That's what I mean. Wow.
That's going to hurt when you come down, man.
Yeah.
But even Robbie was jumping a 500 Honda.
He wasn't an idiot.
Because because that's what you jump. It's something with long travel that's supposed to be jumped.
It's something
These
light.
Shits you're not supposed to jump.
No, absolutely. They're not supposed to leave the ground. Tires on the ground.
Probably 350 pounds, where a Harley minimum is 900 pounds.
Yeah.
These things are so heavy.
Even if you strip some shit off of it, because they said they got it down to like 700 pounds, that's still
it's still
huge.
700 pounds.
This guy's 180, 190 pounds flying through the air. This thing weighs more than 3 times as much as you, and you're trying to propel both of you through the air. It's ridiculous.
It's still 2 dirt bikes with no suspension.
Yeah, it's crazy. He said Hamilton and the crew were relieved. They hadn't known what to expect. They'd just been ready for any result on the jump, and they would have been able to adjust.
Yeah.
Because basically they were going to film the scene where after the jump, they cut to Hamilton being Knievel. So they were waiting till after the jump happened to film that, because they didn't know if he'd be in a heap on the ground for the scene or if he'd be sitting, victoriously atop his motorcycle. So they had to wait.
Right. In a heap or on a bike?
That's it. So Hamilton said, I'd seen him get splattered once in Sacramento, so I knew what happened in that situation. It was a curious thing. He was hurt and everyone was rushing around, and he looked up at me and winked like he was playing a game on everyone else. I couldn't figure that out. He said, I'm all right. This part I'm used to. So the filming in Butte took place a month later, 10 days of shots of Hamilton / Knievel kidnapping Sue Lyon / Linda, racing around the richest hill on earth, police in pursuit, robbing stores, causing general mayhem. Locals were hired as extras, some with speaking parts. The director was Marvin Chomsky. He said Knievel made suggestions, but mostly quiet suggestions. This is fucking great. This is what a crazy shit Evel is. The director said the one thing he wanted to do was blow up City Hall for a robbery scene. The actual town City Hall.
We need to destroy that.
And I told him we couldn't blow up the City Hall. This was a movie.
We're not allowed. We can make a replica, man. No, we need to do that one.
No, City Hall. He said he could get some dynamite. No. Evel's like, I didn't say, are you going to get permission to blow it up? I said, we should blow it up. That's what he was saying. He wasn't saying that would be good, like, let's get permits and I'll talk to the right people. It was literally, if I get some dynamite, let's blow it up. That'll look cool. City Hall.
Wow.
So this guy said he could get some dynamite. He got some dynamite. He said, look, I got you dynamite. I told you. And he said, I told him we couldn't blow up the City Hall. We can't do that.
I told you I'd hold up my end of the bargain, and I did.
I did. It's like, yeah, you might not get arrested all the time, but
Yeah.
I'll go to prison if I blow up City Hall. Not okay. So Hamilton rode the bike to the top of various ramps during the movie and part of the filming. He stopped before the takeoff point, looked at the distance to the other side, thought of jumping. He said the thought of jumping the bike was fucking insane. He was like, he said, no way I'd do that. He said, say what you want about Knievel. You never could question his balls. You needed big balls to do what he did. Yeah, he wasn't doing that shit. So 1971, July 14th, 1971, Evel Knievel, the movie, comes out. I'll show you the poster. Looks pretty fucking cool if you're Evel Knievel.
Yeah, it's actually called Evel Knievel.
It's called Evel Knievel, and this is what makes him really famous.
Yeah.
He was famous before, but this is your name on every marquee in every fucking town in America.
Every market, yep.
Every time people open the newspaper to
And
look
you
at the
don't
movies.
even have to go.
Nope.
That's
And it's
brilliant.
And it's not, this is a movie about me. It's called Evel Knievel.
Yeah.
So it's just an ad for him, which is crazy. And it's only got a 5.2 rating on IMDb out of 10. Not the best here. It stars George Hamilton. Who else is this? Anybody you would recognize? A bunch of older people. These are, nobody you'd really know here.
Bunch of geezers.
Bunch of geezers. So the movie opened on July 14th, 1971 with a premiere at Grauman's Chinese Theater in Hollywood. It's a big deal. Milius, the screenwriter, remember the one that or George Hamilton had all those girls that he wasn't allowed to touch till he was done, went into a limo that was behind George Hamilton's limo. Hamilton was dressed in character in the white leathers. A block from the theater, the limo stopped. Hamilton stepped out, put on his helmet, and jumped onto a waiting motorcycle. He rode the rest of the way on the bike, straight down the red carpet and onto a ramp. When he stopped, he was surrounded by people, mobbed by fans who wanted to shake his hand and touch him and be close. This was different for him. The character trumped the actor. The screenwriter said George wasn't George Hamilton anymore. He was Evel Knievel. That was the reaction. You could see that he loved it. The attention. This was red meat for him. This was the red meat on his bones. It was the same for Evel. He said George and Evel were very well suited for each other. They were a couple of carny hustlers. George is just of the Hollywood variety. That's all. A little slicker maybe, but not any less full of shit.
Right.
They said Knievel was in New York between his stops at Madison Square Garden and the Lancaster Speedway in Buffalo. He pumped the movie as he went from interview to interview. Quote, George Hamilton plays me in the movie, but all the jumping stunts I do. They've got no stuntmen to double for me, and they never will get anyone to do so.
Right.
The reviews, not so wonderful.
No?
No. Chicago Tribune at the bottom of the pile here gave the offering 1 star. They called it drivel. And said this is the most dismissive sentence of all time. The slow, dull treatment of one kook's life. A boring story of an irrelevant person is what they said. That is
a lunatic. Somebody we don't even care about.
The Washington Post said, in order to get the approximately 4 minutes of poorly photographed jump footage, consider what you have to sit through. 84 minutes of George Hamilton trying to change his image by riding a motorcycle. That is just brutal.
This is the movie of a man trying to change your opinion of an actor trying to change your opinion of him.
Yep. He saw this guy and went, that's the guy I want people to think I am, not this fucking uppity Hollywood
not
guy.
This Hollywood
Tan,
highfalutin cappuccino
Beverly Hills
sipping
pool guy. Yeah. Said on top of acting out the neurosis and immature, self-centered activities of Knievel, the Miami News, they liked it. They said the film really is an attempt to characterize a real-life folk hero, and the subject is fascinating enough to pull it off. A newspaper in Missouri called the story a most amusing mixture of snippy arrogance and snappy humor. Okay. But the film grossed $2,052,227 in the first 21 days of distribution. First 3 weeks, which it was only made for $750,000. So it's already made a profit 3 weeks in. It would wind up grossing somewhere around $15 million in total.
Wow.
On $750, that's a killer. You just made that studio's year. That's a winner. The message Hamilton wanted to send about the American mind, particularly the peculiar insanity of paying attention to someone as something as peculiar and insane as motorcycle jumping, largely was missed. Yeah, there was no big oh, that's deep, man.
Yeah.
That's what he thought he was doing. He thought it was people are going to look at this as a mirror to the American culture, and they were like, that guy jumped a motorcycle because it's a movie. They don't care.
I wish there was more fireworks.
Yeah, that's one of those. They always say, "What is it? Who the fuck said it? No one ever went broke underestimating the intelligence of the American public." That's a fucking quote from 1890s or something, and it's the most relevant fucking quote in the history of the world.
Doug Stanhope says, before you give the power to the people, meet the people. The people are idiots.
The people are, look around. You're all idiots. That's what he said. Yeah.
The people are dumb.
Oh, man. So they said that, some largely missed. The way he'd been typecast in the public mind was too much to overcome. People mostly focused on whether or not Hamilton should have played Knievel, and more often than not, the verdict was that he was too good-looking, too refined to be a motorcycle daredevil. So it didn't even work in changing his image. The only person this did anything for was the producer who made the money and Evel Knievel who got the fame. That was it. They said for everyone involved, except poor George. But then later on, he leaned into it, and that's all he was playing was hi, I'm the father-in-law. I'm overly tanned and wealthy.
Yeah, right.
That's it. He just said, fuck it. That's what I am.
Does so little work.
Even
in his dress clothes, he's wearing white.
Dude, you know it. Yeah. No grease is touching him at all. So they said for everyone involved except Knievel, it turned out to be another payday, another project, another number of days at the office. New projects awaited, turn the page. For Knievel, the effects of the movie were spectacular. Wow. He did not share in the profits, which bothered him. They just paid him for his life story. But money arrived from other directions. This was the final big bounce off the publicity springboard he had discovered as he rolled across the parking lot at Caesar's Palace. His name was wallpapered across America now, splashed on marquees found in the movie listings in every small town, mentioned in in coffee shops every morning. True to form, he embraced his good fortune and doubled and tripled the bet. The clothes became flashier. The cars, and he has always been a sucker for the top-end cars, moving from Rolls to Rolls, Lincoln Mark III to Lincoln Mark III, making deals for cars even when he couldn't pay the rent. Now became a never-ending string of impulse purchases, Ferraris and Maseratis.
He wants that car.
Dude, it's fast. Anything fast.
Yeah.
A good old Cadillac Eldorado every now and then. Cars... That's always going to be good. By the way, I saw it. The 57 Cadillac had a mini bar in the glove compartment.
Is that right?
Bottle holders and metal shot glasses that were magnetically stuck to the door. Yeah, it's fucking awesome. That's good shit. He said cars bought and discarded on a speculative whim. He always liked golf ever since his grandfather bought him a set of Wilson irons, but now he was able to attack the sport, bet on it, invent elaborate propositions. He always had liked women and a good night out on the town. Well, the nights became longer and far more expensive. The money that he had now went through his hands as if it were on fire. He took that image that John Milius had typed for him, out of control flamboyance, the eat, drink merriment, and not only lived up to it, but expanded it. Life imitated art this time. Yeah, he was playing his character from the movie.
He's really doing it.
Not the other way around. He was not the small con character George Hamilton had met the first day at Universal Studios. Evel Knievel was on to the big con now.
Right.
Hamilton said the movie definitely changed his life. He would never acknowledge that, but it did. It's one of those cases, I think, where if you give credit somewhere else, you feel it diminishes what you've done. Do you know what I mean? He said, you like to think that you've done everything yourself. He loved the idea of the movie in the beginning, then acted like it was signing an autograph or something, like just another thing. It wasn't just another thing. It changed his life. It's true. The actor and Daredevil never had anything to do with each other once the movie ran its course. The Daredevil grew to call the actor, quote, kind of a pussy in discussions. Okay. Indeed, he always downplayed the movie. He called the actor my stand-in, and the actor was not afraid to use the word crazy when he talked about daredevils. So, not too fucking bad, honestly. So he did the movie, though, did great for everybody. I mean, that's
just no money for him. But
no money for him, but it's all now. It's his price is higher.
He did it for exposure. He did the exposure move, and it paid off for him.
It fucking paid off. So here's a story here from the book. Nothing showed Knievel's rise to a new level of entertainment notoriety better than his trip to New York to play 4 nights at Madison Square Garden between July 8th and 11th, 1971. That's huge.
Yeah.
4 nights. Is he fucking Billy Joel or something? That's that's big. He was in the most famous arena in America, in the biggest city in America, on display for the most jaded spectators in America. He was a long way from Butte and Moses Lake. Maybe he shared the bill with Jack Coachman's Hell Drivers, and maybe they inherited the dirt on the garden floor and the flies in the garden balcony from the rodeo, which had just left town. But New York was New York. Oh, that's good. It smells like shit in here.
Yeah, there's cow shit around.
Knievel had brought Linda and the 3 kids with him. Ray Gunn had driven the big rig straight down Broadway. This is the big time.
Wow.
Good luck, asshole. Wow. Evel Knievel is twice the man you or I am. This is from a writer here. He makes his living ripping off death while we're trying to live without being ripped off. Evel is a man. He takes no shit from anyone. He fears nothing. For $1, he'll jump over your hell while you cringe from your seat. They didn't describe daredevils that way in the rest of the country. They did in The Village Voice, which culturally is a big deal. If Hollywood was where dreams were made, the movie that had invented this story, this was where the nonfiction version was typed out. This is where the words were shipped to the provinces. He was a gossip item. They said, "How does your wife feel about you risking your life?" Syndicated columnist Earl Wilson asked this question. His answer, quote, "Who the hell cares?" And there's no pause. What does your wife think about this? Who the hell cares? He said,
"That's a wife."
He said, "I wasn't put here to be the slave to any woman." Oh, man. He was a self-contained business. He said, quote, "I make $500,000 a year, except it depends on the year. Last year I didn't do too well because I broke my back twice, and after that I got hit by a car while I was on a bike, so that was a bad year." So then the real story is he hit a car while on a bike.
Yeah.
He has said he was standing there and a car hit him when someone had a heart attack, and then he said he's on a bike and a car hit him, which is both not true. He has a whole bunch of stuff that maybe he hadn't even considered or perhaps never phrased exactly the same way. This one writer said, quote, "Knievel is a lean, handsome man with curly hair, a hard-looking exterior, a quick temper, and a good deal of humor, perception, and charm." Right. Wrote him like he's a cowboy, basically. Yeah. 1971, the Tucson Daily Citizen.
Yeah.
Yeah. They say for the past 24 hours, give or take a drink or two, Knievel has been in Tucson making waves and negotiating with Tucson Dragway owner Bob Huff for a leap year. Okay, that's great. Knievel doesn't live like people. He started yesterday in Butte, Montana around sunrise and finished it in Tucson long after the sun had set. In between, all systems were go and there were no timeouts. But what else would you expect from a man who intends to jump a motorcycle over the Snake River Canyon in Idaho? Jesus Christ, man. So he keeps talking about that. He then says, quote, "I'm a con man."
Yeah. Yes, that's true.
And this is what drives you. If you go, "I'm a con man," people go, "I like that he's honest about that." No.
God, he told the truth.
But he's going to con you in the next breath. He just told you that. And they don't fucking care. People are so fucking stupid when they think they're smart. That's the problem. Oh, Jesus. What is that chart? There's a goddamn chart, okay, and I can't remember Dunning something chart where it's a real thing that shows when you first learn information, your confidence level and what you know about it is extremely high when you know a little, 1% of something, but your confidence is higher and then they show when you learn a little more, your confidence drops to 0 because you realize that you didn't know shit when you thought you just didn't know enough to know you didn't know anything.
All right.
And then as you really learn it, your confidence rises slower and slower and slower, but never gets to the point that you had when you first learned 2 things and didn't know shit else about it.
Does depression rise also because your opinion is changing?
I think it does. Yeah, confidence.
As you learn things, you're like,
that
shit.
too. Yeah. Fuck, man. But that's the problem is people go, well, he said he's a con man, so then I know everything about him, so I trust him.
Thank God he told the truth.
Man, he said, I might be the greatest.
It's an open book, James.
It's an open book. The man just tells the truth. He tells it like it is. That's all it is. Yeah. He says, I might be the greatest con man ever. It's possible. Yeah. But when the front wheel of that motorcycle hits the white line and I'm headed for the ramp at 90 miles an hour, the con is gone. That's also true. Everything else is bullshit, but on there, that's the real shit. He said, I figure the Dune still owes me $50 for that jump. By the time I quit bouncing, I was on their property, and I charge at least that much for personal appearances. That's the Caesars one, because he went through it. So all of these things, man, he's all fucked up. I'm a con man. Oh, okay.
Thank God you told us.
Jesus Christ. They said, if you want to plan a vacation to see the Snake River jump, join the party. He said, I'm going to spend $1 million in Butte on a party before that jump. That's what he claims. He's going to have $1 million party in Butte. Party. In the early 70s, $1 million.
I mean, that takes cocaine to have $1 million party.
It takes cocaine. It takes whatever fucking Diddy was doing.
Yeah.
You know.
It takes slaves.
A lot. It's crazy. Yeah. He said, I'm going to get an armored truck to follow me around with $1 million in it. He said, already there's guys up there trying to buy all the bars so they can be in on the action. That's not true. They said, when will the party be? A week before the jump? And he said, well, maybe we better make it 2 weeks. I got to sober up for the jump. Yeah.
It'll take 2 weeks to sober up.
I love this. Just this headline: Tucson Daily Citizen in 1972. I compete against death. That's the headline. Yeah, that's fucking hilarious. But it's true. Also, he said, I'm not a performer. I'm not an entertainer. I compete with death.
There you go.
But at least I never have to worry about a losing streak. One loss is all I get. Jesus,
except for you lose twice. Okay, death. Yeah, all right.
Yeah, except he's constantly crashing.
Yeah. That's a loss, isn't it? I would think that's a win.
Think so. By the way, he's claiming that he bought that property again at the Snake River Canyon, which I'm not sure. I don't think he has. He said, I bought it from a farmer who probably thought I was going to graze horses up there. Later, he saw a ramp 67 feet high and 430 feet long. I guess he figured it was one heck of a loading chute. Again, these people can't look at Google Earth and see that doesn't exist. He said, my motorcycle for that jump is being built now. It's a steam turbine capable of 350 miles an hour in about 8 seconds. Jesus, when I get over the canyon, there will be a buzzer in my helmet that will tell me when to eject. If I black out from the G-force, they can eject me from the ground by radio signal.
So they're going to hit the button, eject, and then they'll
shoot
count
you out.
3 Mississippi. If you don't eject, then they do it for you?
And then they do it for you. And then you're going to your corpse is going to float to the ground. You're limp fucking.
G-force knocked out Evel will just float to the ground.
Flump on the ground, and that'll be that. They'll come collect him at some point. Hopefully the motorcycle doesn't land on him. So he said, plans now are that we test the bike either at Daytona or at the Salt Flats in Utah. I'd like to make the jump Labor Day. One way or another, it will be a one-shot deal. He said all the people involved are first rate. They've built missiles. They've built toy rockets.
They've built missiles.
They build hobby rockets for high school kids.
He calls them missiles.
Missiles. Many of the guidance systems used in our spacecraft.
No, dog. That is a parachute that opens as soon as the engine burns out.
Yeah, they know how to make a rocket with a parachute. That's what they figured out. That's it.
And I don't know. I think that parachute pops out because the last bit of the engine shoots that direction. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It has a little bit of a pop at the end, and that's what opens that chute. But if it doesn't have that pop or it misfires, then it just comes down like a missile.
Explodes and just pop, blows, it goes into 5 pieces. He said, I figure if they can get a man to the moon, they can get me across that canyon, which is what he said about the Grand Canyon. I'm not as concerned as you might think.
Okay, well, I don't think.
That seems a little bit fucking nuts, though. Yeah. He, wow. He said Jack Stroh it's his buddy there. They said, wow. Jack Stroh is nervous over this practice session. And they said, for Jack Stroh, the answer is a speech. Hell yes. Let me tell you something about Jack Stroh, says Evel Knievel. Jack has more guts than any 10 men. He has to be one of the greatest stuntmen living. He does one stunt nobody else does, stands in the middle of a racetrack while you run your car at him at 80 miles an hour. Then he jumps up in the air, does a split, and the car passes under him. He's the only man I know that's done it successfully. I've tried it, and I didn't do it successfully. Nope. Jack made a jump in my place a couple years ago in Phoenix. I was hurt, so he jumped. Heck, Jack couldn't even ride a motorcycle then, but he jumped. We all ended up in the same hospital. He said, move the Ranchero down the ramp. If I get hurt, don't let anybody else touch my helmet. Don't try to get it off. Get me in the truck to the hospital. Tell the doctor to x-ray me before he takes the helmet off. If my neck is broken, anybody tries to get that helmet off, they're going to kill me. So that's what he's saying. So, yeah, that's his instructions. His wife says, quote, or no, they ask him, there is a Mrs. Knievel here. She will fly to see the jump. And he says, it's a hard life for a woman. To watch someone you care about doing what I do has got to be difficult. She's asked me to quit several times. But I don't feel that a man was put on this earth to satisfy the whims of a woman.
What was that? He's a good man.
The whims of a woman. She's got 2 children that she's going to have to raise alone if you kill yourself.
He's
like it's a whim.
Man, James.
Yeah. Like she told you to switch from wild turkey to another brand or some shit. Like, what the hell? A woman's fears for security, the house with the mortgage, the school down the block can hold a man back. He never dares, never takes the big step, makes the mark he could make because the woman's fears hold him back. I've never been able to live that way. Yeah. Also, the woman's fears and the woman's, a lot of times women keep men from doing dumb shit. Anybody out there with like a wife that you're married to and happy to, she's kept you from doing something dumb at some point in your life where you're like, oh, yeah, that was probably a good call on that one. Yeah. So he said, I believe a man should find something that he can do and stick with it. Maybe he can't be the best, but at least he can be the best he's capable of being. I believe that I'm the best at what I do. As long as people jump motorcycles, there will be records. Those records are going to be mine until I'm dead or I quit.
Is that right?
I've been called a con man. You said you are a con by you.
Self-proclaimed, dog. What
Yeah.
are you talking about?
And maybe I'm the best con man alive. That's what he says, but then he does his standard fucking, when I get that bike heading for that ramp, the con's over. That's right. Chicago Tribune here, he said, I've never had a press agent. He said, I've never needed one.
I'm myself, yeah.
Yeah. Of all the things the motorcycle daredevil jumper told me, that is the one I find most believable, this writer says, which is funny. Knievel needs a shill about as much as Joe Namath needs an ego boost. Because this is 1972. As for the rest, I don't know how much of what Knievel told me is true. What's more, I don't even care. He says, for instance, that he's been a lot of things, including a copper miner, an insurance salesman, a safecracker, and a con man. He has made, by his estimate, $3.5 million in the last 6 years. So he's no longer to practice. So he's no longer has to practice any of the first 3 occupations. As for the latter, well, it all began, he says, 6 years ago where he appeared at a thrill show. They go through his bullshit here, and so they go through everything, and he says he's not sure how many jumps he'll make. He said, all I know is I'm making one Friday. If I survive that, I'll make 2 more the rest of the weekend. This guy says, now do you see why he doesn't need a press agent?
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's doing great.
When your gig is, hey, I might splatter myself to death right here.
Yeah.
People are going to watch that. You don't really need a press person telling them why they need to see it.
Not a lot of press is going to improve that.
Yo, no shit. This is wild to say about your wife in the Chicago Tribune.
Oh.
This woman, he cheats on her right in front of her. Like we said, he had a go-go dancer fucking him in the room while she was sitting in a chair outside the hospital room. He talks about, it's crazy. He says in this, they talk about the Chicago Tribune, February 11th, 1972. He still has the same wife he married 11 years ago, he notes. Quote, she was kind of dumb.
His wife?
His wife. She was kind of dumb.
Yeah.
I had to kidnap her to get her to go with me. Her dad put me in jail. He said, but if I was the father and had a daughter and Evel Knievel was after her, I'd put that bastard in jail too. She was kind of dumb. Holy shit. So Evel Knievel he jumps over 19 cars here, and he calls that a world record, even though I think he's done it before.
But she was dumb.
But she was dumb. Yeah. Well, these people are dumb for believing him, I think is what it is. November 27th, 1972, motorcycle ace zooms over cars. This is another I just love the headlines. Yeah. He says, I got it in my blood. Yeah. The risk. Yeah.
AIDS.
Yeah, I got it in my blood. Hepatitis. I got it from a bad transplant. Bad transfusion. It was rough.
I got it in my blood and my liver.
Got it all over the place here. So, he said, I used to ride. He talks about his riding motorcycle races. He said, I used to ride so fast that they'd put me in the back row and I'd still win.
That's not true. You never won.
Never won shit, but he has fucking trophies made. That is hilarious. I wonder if he had the retrofitted dates on them.
Yeah.
On the little plaques. I bet he did. That's the fucked up part.
Right?
Yeah, just make them up. So he said, I've jumped a bike farther than anyone on earth, 150 feet. That's the record. That's right. He can do it. He said, if you make a mistake, if you say you're jumping 12 cars, but you land short and crash into the 10th car, you end up in the hospital. Yeah, no shit.
That's true, yeah.
No shit. And then they talk about the movie. He said, it's called Evel Knievel. It's based on the incidents in my life. Some things are very, very true, and others are fictionalized a bit to protect the guilty. George Hamilton plays me in the movie, but all the jumping stunts I do, obviously. This is fucking interesting. Right under this, by the way. It's pretty funny to have it right under him because he's the horniest guy ever. Dangerous sex offenders get hormone aid.
What is this?
It's from Australia. Dangerous young sex offenders are being given injections of a female hormone to reduce sex drive, a medical official says.
These bitches are frigid as hell. Whatever they've got, let's give it to the guys.
Maybe they'll still be horny, but they'll be like less rapey, maybe. I don't know. Dr. Lionel Chow.
Maybe they'll let somebody else make the first move.
Maybe that'll work, and then it's on. Psychiatrist superintendent of the Melbourne Children's Hospital, Children's Court Clinic, said the treatment is used in cases where the only alternative is indefinite confinement. During the treatment, the patients remain at large in the community. The youths are injected every 2 weeks with a hormone, estrogen, obviously, but the treatment is temporary and completely reversible. Said most offenders who are dangerous child assaulters settle down by adulthood. What the fuck are you talking? Wow, we found out the exact opposite is actually true. He's talking about teenage child molesters.
Yeah.
They fucking settle down by adulthood.
Don't worry, they'll age out of it.
Wow, that is horrifyingly dangerous. Wow. Now we'll talk about the toy. We'll get into that, okay? Mm-hmm. Now, the toy, he's approached. He did nothing. This wasn't his idea or anything.
Yeah. He's Mattel?
This is, no, Ideal makes the toy, but that's not who he deals with. He deals with Marvin Glass and Associates. The way this toy is made is there was research and development, and you come up with an idea, make a prototype, you take it to the toy cons that they have, where everyone brings their new ideas, like the NAPT thing for the network TVs and all that shit. Same shit. And then you try to find a manufacturer who wants to buy that idea from you and make it and share profits with you. So these people came up with the Evel Knievel toy.
Yes.
And they said, okay, we can do this. Now, the one guy who runs this joint, by the way, this toy company, he's a fucking trip. He lives near Hugh Hefner. Oh. They did a spread about his house in 1970, calling it like the ultimate. They called it swinging in suburbia. And he has an 8-person hot tub and like all these weird 70s jizz covered things, like things that are, you go, oh God, just pubes and jizz everywhere. He had all that shit. He was like this weird swinging playboy type of guy, but he made toys, which is the weirdest profession to have that in here. So he's the guy. They came up with some toys you would recognize. Number one, Operation, the game, which I think still around. That's from the 60s. He invented that shit. Wow. Another thing they came up with is, do you know the standard cliche like joke shop chattering teeth? Yeah. Those are his. Wow. Chattering teeth.
The ones that
you wind them up and they chatter.
Yeah. I mean, at every dentist office.
Every one of them. He invented that.
That's his
as
gig.
a novelty thing.
That's a great gag.
It's still being sold. He invented it in the 40s.
Wow.
Late 40s, early 50s or some shit came up with that.
I think those were at the magic shop at Disneyland. That,
yep, they absolutely were.
That Steve Martin used to sell. I think he said that was his favorite toy to sell.
Absolutely are there. Every joke shop or magic shop, every one of them has it. It's a standard. Wow. It's the fake glasses and mustache of that.
Remember, eventually they ended up putting feet on them, and they would jump. On the feet.
Not as fun.
Not as fun. No,
it's better when they're all out of control. They're all nuts. Yeah. So this guy's an interesting guy, and they talk about in the book too. It's pretty cool. They talk about kind of the hits and misses of the toy companies and different toy company and things they made that worked, and then other ones that were shitty. And it's kind of interesting that they say basically 50,000 new toys come to that conference thing every year, and they make about 2,000 out of 50,000, and then about 200 of those toys are ever profitable.
Wow.
So every year there's 50,000 new ideas, and about 200 of those will ever make $1.
Is that right?
Yeah.
That's got to be based on what they'll market and what they won't, because you've got to believe that out of that many toys, there's much better ideas.
You figure if 48,000 ideas were rejected, somewhere in those 48,000 ideas are ones that would have worked, obviously. Yeah. But it's such a hit and miss thing with toys. The reason why the Evel Knievel cycle ended up working is because they already had the technology of how to do it.
Okay.
They had this because you spin this thing, and it gets all the way out, and then it's all cranked up, and then it shoots off.
And it's got to have some sort of a gadget inside, you know what I mean, that keeps it upright.
That too. It sits on its own little thing. Where Evel Knievel, it's kind of on that little kickstand thing.
Okay.
So what they did was they had a truck that they invented that for, this toy company, and the truck didn't work at all. It sold like shit. It was in the middle of all these. I guess a bunch of people were releasing truck toys, and it just got lost in the mix. So they were like, "We have this technology to make
in the Tonka avalanche, man. That truck was awesome.
They were fucking great, metal and awesome." So they said, "What if we took that wheel and we made it one wheel and we put it on the back of a fucking motorcycle?"
Yeah.
And did it. Kids could crank it up.
Red,
you
white,
could shoot
and
them
blue
off.
suit on this motherfucker and have it jump 13 Tonkas.
That's right. So what they did the first year, and we'll get into it, but the first year they just made the Evel Knievel doll, just a little figure, because they didn't have the bike wasn't made yet. They were still putting it together, but they could make a little figure pretty quickly. So little figure, suit, helmet that went over his head, cape, and a cane. Always a cane too.
The cane came with it.
Came with him always, because that was
fuck?
He always had it with him in every interview, and that was his calling card, was that cane. So the cane was there too. So you could beat a photographer also. The kids want to have the full Evel Knievel play experience, and that's
because his leg hurts.
Because his leg hurts, and he's violent, so it works out really well. And then they had different outfits and shit like that, and then in '73, that's when they released the Evel Knievel stunt cycle. And it was the best-selling Christmas toy for 3 years in a row.
Really?
The first year they made them, they only sold a certain amount because they said that's all we could make. We couldn't make enough. Yeah. They said we were getting calls, and they said we could have sold 2 million of them, but we couldn't make 2 million. We only could make 500,000. But it was the most, impressive toy. And if you talk to anybody, these are people before my, you know what I mean, talk to people 10 years older than us. They will all be like, "Oh my God, that's the greatest toy that's ever fucking happened. Holy shit." And they'll tell you a story about how they broke a window or shot it through their grandmother's china cabinet or did something that got them in a lot of trouble because they fired Evel Knievel off of it.
The technology for that toy is essentially the same as, remember when you would pull the cars back and let them go?
Same thing.
It's the same type of thing.
Just tension.
That engine is not in the Evel Knievel. It's in the piece that winds him up.
Exactly. So it's in the bike.
Wow. Yeah.
That way, when he flies off and lands, he can fly off the bike too, and it'll be the real Evel Knievel experience. Because that was it. Because you'd build big ramps and then try to jump shit. Because it came with ramps too. You could buy ramps and then you try to jump shit. Yeah. So they released several various models relating to his stunt show. They had a Robbie Knievel doll, too, that they released at the Scramble van, If you look it up, look up Evel Knievel toys. There's a whole, it's like G.I. Joe or fucking Star Wars or something. There's tons of them.
Oh, yeah.
The scrambled.
The original ones are still very
They're expensive. Yeah. Those toys are like collector's items. People love those things. But I mean, there was millions of them made, so you could probably get them.
Doesn't even look like him. What the fuck?
No. These Canyon Sky Cycle, a dragster, a stunt car, even though when the fuck was he doing car shit?
Cars, yeah.
And the Evel Knievel, the Stunt World, they called it.
Oh, so you get everything.
A chopper motorcycle, a trail bike, also a female counterpart called Derry Daring.
She does the same things, but she's dumb.
She's dumber, though. That's the only difference. She's dumber and can't tell him what to do. So that is fucking amazing. Wow.
Oh, there's the stunt car. It looked kind of like, dude, it looks like a fucking cartoon. It's stupid.
Yeah, they're stupid.
It looks
some
like
of
a
those,
top fuel dragster. It's like big fat back tires, small little front tires, and it's a one-seater. And I don't know what the fuck he did with this.
That's what I mean. The bike is the thing. You needed the bike. That's what it was all about. The rest of it was just, it's something new.
Yeah. The rest is just him trying to continue one-upping what he does, and you just can't do it.
Yeah, it's impossible.
Oh, he actually did ride in a top fuel dragster, James, an Evel Knievel top fuel dragster.
Interesting.
Wow.
Here's something that I'd love to know what this is worth here.
Okay.
In 1977, way out of our timeline here, Bally marketed its Evel Knievel pinball machine as the first fully electronic commercial game. It's elsewhere been described as one of the last of the classic pre-digital games because, both the electromechanical and solid-state versions were produced. The electromechanical version is extremely rare with only 155 made. Imagine what those are worth right now.
Wow.
I don't even know if we could look that up and find out if that would even
you can
one of
type
them
in
would.
electromechanical. I mean, they've got pinball game. There it is, Pinside.
Wow.
Evel Knievel pinball game. EM 1977. $11,000.
It's actually less than I thought.
Yeah. Still 10
Jesus, we should raise that for the studio. We should fucking
$9,500 to $10,900. So
damn,
anywhere in between.
Holy shit!
That doesn't even have one for sale. It's just the valuation of it on pinside.com. So that's
it could be 50 grand.
Yeah.
Someone could want for it.
It's worth whatever somebody is selling it for. Sets the price up.
If there's two available in the world, whatever they want to sell it for is what it's worth.
Whatever they want is what they're going to get for it. Yeah.
Jesus Christ. In the 70s, AMF Bicycles partnered with him to release a series of bicycles marketed with TV ads and everything else. So
okay, yeah. That's Harley Davidson.
Yeah. He was the hero. Mm-hmm. I mean, think about it. He's on TV all the time. He's all these toys, and it's like the kids fucking loved him, which is interesting here. The last item marketed by Ideal Toys before it was discontinued was the distribution of the Knievel toys was the Stratocycle based on the film Viva Knievel, which we'll, I think, talk about our next episode. The terrible film. You should check it out before next week, Jimmy. It's on Amazon Prime. Look up Viva Knievel. It's with the riff track, so they make fun of it. It's pretty goddamn funny. And it's just hilarious. Watching him act is so fucking funny. The opening scene is him busting into this like fucking orphanage at 2 a.m.
For what? That's illegal.
And the nuns are like, "What are you, evil? You can't be here. It's 2 a.m." He's like, get the hell out of here. He's like drunk, and he fucking busts into the room where all the kids are sleeping in their little orphan cots. And he's like, "Hey, kids, I brought you some toys." And he's just got a box, and he's just giving kids the evil. He's advertising. It's the Stratocycle from the that they made because of the movie. Yeah. So he's plugging his shit, and it's 2 a.m. and then he takes a kid with him. It's crazy. We'll talk all about it. Dude, the amount of just taking kids places without any permission is wild in this movie. So, that's how that goes. This is from the book. Quote, "Hold your breath, kids," a full-page ad on the back cover of Marvel Comics proclaimed. "For your own Evel Knievel, more daring than Evel himself. Make him leap to fame in his stupendous stunt cycle. He'll do wheelies, he'll do jumps. He powers away on his gyro-driven superbike. Stunts and tricks you wouldn't believe."
Yeah.
Yeah. Says jumps your set of encyclopedia volumes A through W. Another ad said over a cartoon rendering of that very jump, sensational leaps over your neighborhood ditch. So the success of the Christmas 73 toy, where the bike sold a shitload, they said everybody was clamoring for the toy. It opened up endless string of possibilities for 74, 75. Ideal would expand the line and expand again. The company would put out, like we said, the Scramble Van Chopper Bike GT Cycle, the Stunt and Crash Car Playset, the Dragster, the Canyon Rig, the CB Van, the Sidewinder, the Strata Cycle, the Trail Bike, the Funny Car, the Super Jet Cycle, the Sky Cycle, the Stunt Stadium, the Fast Tracker, the Road and Trail playset, the Stunt World playset, the Skull Canyon playset, and the Stunt Game and a board game.
So he's just a fucking toy salesman now.
That's it. Yeah. But the thing is, he doesn't ever fuck with it, too. He doesn't ever have to do anything with the toys. All he has to do is go about his life, and that sells the toys. So he doesn't have to do, like, promotional things, or like he doesn't have to go on like a talk show to talk about his toy. He just jumps and they go, that's the toy. There you go.
Sell that. Yeah.
So that's a lot of shit. Evel Knievel would be at the center of each of these products, his name and picture across the top with the new signature #1 associated with the Harley Davidson somewhere on the box. He was a personal...
Harley's still selling that number and capitalizing on it.
I see that. Yeah. Oh,
that logo is everywhere.
Half their shirts it's all over the place. They said he was a personal friend of the kids who owned the toy. They not only would put him into perilous situations and he would survive, they would tuck him into bed at night. Man and plastic product were intertwined. Evel Knievel lived in Butte or Hollywood or wherever he lived. He also lived in the toy chest in the corner of every bedroom.
Yeah.
More than 30 years later, almost 40, the toy would still make these grown kids, now with their own family, smile. They would type out comments for Feeling Retro, a website for memories of the 60s and 70s. And here's some. I don't know when this book was written. I think 2010-ish. They said, quote, I used to race it from our living room to the kitchen. Then I would yell, hey, Mom, he broke every bone in his body. To this day, I tell everyone that was one of my favorite toys. I remember back when I was 5 years old and living in Fort Walton, Florida, this guy says, I was playing with my Evel Knievel and having him jump a ramp in the front hallway of our condo and having the front door as my stop. Like hay bales, he said. Mm-hmm. Well, after many successful jumps, I wound him up for one last jump. Off he goes, and that very moment my father came in and opened the front door, and Evel flew right out of the door and fell 4 stories to the parking lot below. Just like the real Evel.
Yeah.
One guy said, I wound it up to full speed and then tapped the spinning wheel on the back of my best mate's head.
Oh, my God, no.
Oh, you know exactly where this is going.
Oh, my God, this poor fucking guy.
Oh, God, he said, seemed like a great thing to do as a 9-year-old. The effect was immediate. My mate was almost scalped as reams of his 70s-style haircut were dragged into the mechanism.
Christ.
Holy fuck, it's like a lathe at that point. Not able to remove the bike from my bleeding and screaming mate, he ran home where his mother completed the job and gave him a bald spot 30 years too soon.
Oh, my God.
Holy fuck, man. One guy says, I remember jumping Evel over 20 cases of beer at my friend's house, then flipping and smashing the bottom of the window of his mother's china cabinet. Toughest toy ever.
Jesus Christ.
He said, one kid said, I actually prayed to Jesus for this toy. Well, I'm here to tell you that there is indeed a God, because on Christmas morning, the Red Ryder dual-action carbon-firing BB gun of our generation showed up, sure as thunder, under our tree upon my 5 a.m. wake-up. The memories of this greatest toy, my rosebud, linger with me to this day. So they talked about when they made this toy, they didn't know about it. They thought, because the one guy, one of the marketing guys from the toy company went to the owner of the place and he goes, we should make a toy with this guy. And he said, I don't think so. Because up until this is going to sound crazy for what we have now, but up until this time, there had been no successful doll sold of a real person.
Really?
There's everybody, it's a doll of a comic book character,
an idea,
or a thing like that, not of a real. They said they made a Shirley Temple doll briefly in the 30s that sold okay, but since then nothing. So they don't make dolls for people, and that's like a rule because no one. It's too specific.
Then it's a likeness, and
And you got to, well, you have to license with comic books and stuff, but still, it's just too specific and it doesn't sell well. So there's like this, just a general rule that don't make dolls of real people. They don't sell well. Period. Yeah. Meanwhile, it's a stupid, outdated rule, obviously, at this point when these people are on television all the time.
Depends on the person. Yeah.
Exactly. So they also thought that boys aren't going to want to play with dolls.
Right. Yeah.
But one of the guys who worked at the company said, hey, listen, we are the people who turned down G.I. Joe a few years ago because we said boys won't play with dolls. And
boys play with dolls. Yeah.
Look what the fuck happened. So are we going to make that same mistake again or what? And then they said, fuck it, let's just do it. Yeah. And that's what ended up happening. So that's, So they said that
did he make giant money from this part?
Yeah, this next thing is exactly about that. They said the toy was the final piece of the perpetual dream for Knievel, the payoff. Fortune had joined fame. Okay. There was never being a public accounting of how much he would make, and he always would exaggerate numbers, but Ideal would say, and they have stockholders and shit, Ideal would say that the toy made over $100 million. In mid-70s money. No, they said, so if he made 10%, because I think that's what he had, 10%, that means he would have made $10 million in the mid-70s, which is
crazy.
That's like, making $80 million now. It's a shitload of money.
A Ferrari would have been like $20,000. It's not. It's
like $40,000 for a Ferrari. Yeah,
it's not a $500,000 car back then.
Holy shit!
This could stretch so far.
It's so much. Yeah,
Butte.
But not the way he spends it. Wait till you hear how he spends it. They're talking about him at this one point. He's in Philadelphia. This was after the Madison Square Garden jump. He's in Philadelphia, and the, I guess the toy people or some executive went to see him and talk to him, and said he spent the day with them. And Evel spent the entire day going from jewelry shop to jewelry shop, buying diamonds and jewels and looking for a special piece for one of the flying Belenda people. And that's what you can't do.
Oh, boy.
You can't do that. You can't MC Hammer the whole thing and just,
and a million others. You gotta
that's crazy.
Be careful, man.
They said so if he would have made $10 million, they said the success of the toy also brought other deals negotiated by Marvin Glass and Associates that would bring money from directions Knievel never had imagined. His name would be on bicycles, bedspreads, pinball machines, lunchboxes, candy bars. Name a product, any product, an assortment of products. Some would sell, some would not. Money would be involved in all of them.
Evel had to make $50 million.
That's the amount of kids with a fucking Evel Knievel thermos back then and lunchbox.
Boy.
And
the combo. Fuck you.
And then T-shirts, too. Yeah. That was when T-shirts like that, 4 things started to become real big in marketing. And, oh, my God.
Trucker hats, forget it.
They said he was caught in a fat tornado of capitalism that visits very few people in their lives. He was in the highest of demand.
Awesome.
One guy here, Skip Van Leeuwen, said, quote, I was with them once. I'll tell you this. I was with them once drinking. He said there was all these guys in another room. They'd paid $5,000 just to sit down with him to make a presentation.
What the fuck?
$5,000 just to pitch him on something that would involve him. That's $5,000 just to sit down, this guy goes on to say. He says they were waiting and we were drinking, and he said, fuck it, let's go play golf.
Yeah.
He told all those guys they'd have to come back the next day just like that. He was so big. I worked with Mike Nesmith at one point. He was in the Monkees. I'd go out with him. He said, I'd go out with him. I'd go out with Evel. There's no comparison in the attention they got. Evel was 10 times as much. Crazy. 10 times as much as a monkey.
And the Monkees were a big fucking deal, man.
They were a big deal. But they could probably blend in a little more than Evel Knievel, which he's not a blender.
If Evel doesn't have a jumpsuit on, he could blend.
If he doesn't have all of his shit on. Because he's got... Yeah. Even when he doesn't have a jumpsuit, he's got a giant collar, gold rings, a fucking flashy cane, blonde curly hair. He's acting crazy, being a spectacle. And then the Philadelphia one that he said he always liked to let people know he was a big dick, the one guy said, meaning a swinging dick, not an asshole.
Not an asshole, right.
He spent money. He liked to tell you he was a member of the Mile High Club, made love in an airplane, things like that. Shit? I never saw him dead drunk or anything, but he was hard to take. I always thought he was abusive. We were people that worked hard for him, and he never seemed to appreciate it. So that's the kind of guy he was here. I think we'll leave it off with there.
Wow, he was such a big deal.
We'll start off with a story next week of some crazy outings, because now that he's got so much money, you thought he was crazy before.
Yeah.
Now he's like fucking Bill Murray at the end of fucking Kingpin, where he's like, Big Earn is finally above the law. That's where he is now. Like, he is a mess.
What do you think?
There you go.
What do you think Robbie Knievel was worth at his death? I mean,
not even anything close to
he
evil.
couldn't have been worth anything,
Nothing.
right?
No, he was just another guy who was doing weird jumping tricks by then. He wasn't.
Probably got to be worth whatever was left over from his dad.
Yeah, which I doubt was anything, honestly. I doubt was much.
Couldn't be much.
So, yeah, because, I mean, Evil he caught lightning in a bottle. He was like, no, that never happened for anybody who's ever touched a motorcycle again. You know what I mean?
Robbie just had zero charisma. It was so depressing.
He didn't have the shit his dad had. No. He didn't grow up.
He's the Kyle Petty. Richard Petty's son is the most boring son of a bitch. That's what Robbie was, the poor bastard.
And this isn't like in racing you can just win and be as boring as you want. You still make a shitload of money. This has nothing to do with your skill level. It just has to do with who wants to buy tickets to see you.
You got to sell what you're doing.
Yeah, this is wrestling or comedy. It has nothing to do with skill level. It has to do with who wants to come see you. That's it.
And Kyle
who will
Petty
pay?
Wasn't very good at it either.
No. There you go. So anyway, there you go, everybody. That is Evel Knievel Part 4. He's rich now, so we've taken you from a broken, sort of famous man to now a rich national celebrity.
Awesome.
And it's going to be, the next one's going to be a crazy episode, because I think we'll get into the Snake River Canyon jump and all of his appearances. I'm going to play a few
Maybe we will.
Maybe. You never know.
Just like Evil, we may do it next time.
It might be Part 6. We don't know, but I'll bring some videos here on my laptop, and we'll watch some of these videos of him on these talk shows, because they are the things he says in public are fucking insane, and they're hilarious. So we need to definitely talk about those. So if you like the show, tell everyone about it. Yeah. Tell everyone to listen to more Evel Knievel stuff here, and do that for sure. You can get on whatever app you are listening on and give us 5 stars. That is tremendously helpful. We'd love it if you did that. You can also head over to shutupandgivememurder.com and get your tickets for live shows. Tons of them out there, including the 420 virtual live show, which will take place Saturday, April 19th. I'm going to get Jimmie Stone. We're going to dress up in costumes. It's going to be just like a regular live show, except in your fucking living room or wherever you want to watch it in the world that has internet. Can't wait to see you guys. Thank you so much. And then the regular live shows as well. Get your tickets for Chicago in May. That's the big one that's coming up. Grab that. So do that. And that's shutupandgivememurder.com. You may also want to follow on social media at Crime and Sports. You may also, and you should also, subscribe to Patreon. Patreon.com/crimeinsports is where you get it. It's not just, hey, I want to support the show. You do support the show when you do that, but you also get something for it. We're going to give you way more than your money's worth. Put it that way. You're going to get hundreds of back episodes of bonus stuff you've never heard before, available immediately upon subscription, and new episodes every other week. 1 Crime and Sports and 1 Small Town Murder, and you get it all, baby, for $5 a month. This week for Crime and Sports, we're going to talk about the 2012 Miami Dolphins bullying scandal. As new stuff has come out about that, and apparently, like the one guy's mom was involved in it a lot.
What?
So, it's weird, dude. It's
Richie?
No. The Jonathan Martin, his mom was involved, and it's a weird ass thing. We'll talk about that. Then for Small Town Murder, it is the Amazon review killer. Who, dude, what he did was crazy as far as the murders and keeping women hostage for months and all this type of shit. But on top of that, the products he used, like locks and, things of that nature, he left honest reviews on Amazon about them and about the uses that he used them for. And people thought it was hilarious because they didn't think he was serious. Holy shit. So check that out. Patreon.com/crime and sports is where you get all that. And you get a shout out goddamn now. Jimmie, hit me with those like Evel Knievel hitting a fucking hay bale after a bad jump. Hit me with them right now.
This week's executive producer, Christopher Bottomley, Gary Howard, Jessica Beauchesney, I think it's Beauchesney. Cody
you
Weber,
put like an Italian. Beauchesney.
Beauchesney.
I'll see you in a pie. You
I'll
put
have
something.
the rigatoni Beauchesnay.
Beauchesnay, please. I hear it's good tonight.
Cody Leversey in Detroit. You're the best,
Hey,
Cody. Shelley
thank you.
Roberts. Larry Butterfast.
Thank you.
You're
Hey,
terrific,
Larry.
too.
Yes,
and they're in
absolutely.
Orange County. Julia Hayes. I think he's in Orange County. Is he in
I think
California
so.
still?
I think he is. Yeah, he drove all the way there to see us in Phoenix.
Yeah, that's right.
From Orange County. That was our guy.
I always, because they're gray and both rad, I mix him up with the rock and roll scientist in Philly.
Oh,
I do it all the
that girl
time.
rocks too, yeah.
They're equally awesome dudes. And
They're
both
equally,
of them,
yes. You're right
both of them
about that.
Both of them texted me on my birthday, and I was like, oh, no.
And somehow I never put that together, that they were similar,
But
and they
very
are. They're
similar
exactly
dudes.
alike. Yeah, that's awesome.
East and West Coast guys, and they're both
That's cool.
rad.
Yeah.
Julia Hayes, Peter Gozinia.
Of course
You
it
know
does.
that guy. He's a
Yeah.
great guy. And Tara L. And there was clearly a concerted effort to donate to PayPal because I had a birthday. And I can't thank you guys enough. It was incredibly
that's nice.
kind of all of you. Thank you so much. We will use it to buy lots and lots of weed for the 420 show. And we'll celebrate in a couple of months.
Lovely.
Other producers this week are Peyton Meadows, Jennifer Ward, Elena Zamel, Isabel Gill, Happy Hour in Tallulah, Louisiana. He checked in. Jennifer Ward, Janice Hill, Danielle Garouge, Melanie Fielkowski, Brian Fingleton, Large Marge, Joshua Reagan, Kira with no last name, Jamie Holiday, Abby Forsbrook, Sierra B, Mattis Reiber, Les Sniper, Janie with no last name, Brada with no last name, Nicole Frazier, Zachary Jensen, Emily Walker, Chris Gavin, Nikki Campbell, Casey McGrath, Ed Culhane, I don't know, Andrew with no last name, Krista Capps, Zachary Burns, Kim Graviter, Curry, old Curry Reisenbeck, Carrie, thank you so much, Shannon Hovader, Davis Miller. That's Davis Miller. Two last names for a name.
Davis Miller. Yeah.
Glistifer. Craig Yamamoto. Glistifer gives no last name. Valerie Jensen.
You don't
Nicole
need one.
Sandland. Randy Howard Haley with no last name. Jason McLean, Jeff Solomon, Jason Barber, Landon Wood, Andrea McAllister, Susan Rozelle, Raisinette, maybe.
Raisinets?
Jenna Wisnowski is a name. Colby Robinson, Kyle Landrum, Jenna Crawford, Brian Forbes, Jimmie ass licking Westman. Why would you want that said? I don't understand. Is there a joke that we missed?
I don't know.
Are you trying to be insulting?
Or supportive. We don't even know. That's how out of it is. We don't even know if you're being insulting or supportive. We don't know whether to say thank you or fuck you. Yeah. If we can't tell whether to say thank you or fuck you, it's weird. Sorry.
I think you've missed the mark.
But thanks for money.
Renee with no last name. This is Sparta. Indy with no last name. Tim Schwartz, Jake Simpson, Becky Helms, Sherry Toulier, Diane Davis, Cassandra Bird, Carly Harris, Amanda Jedi Empress. Amanda S. James. She loves Star Wars, evidently.
Cool. I guess so.
I know that much about Star Wars that I know the Jedis are from there.
I would hope so. They returned in one whole movie.
Monty Tudal, Tracy Richard, Alex Miles, Debbie Stevens, B. Bradley, Josh with no last name, Nick Messmer, Dan Revolution, Braden Evans, Gregory McGrath, Chris Butler, Joshua Baker, Laura Milner, Mliner. ML, that's a possibility. How do you even pronounce that?
That's
what do
a
you
possibility.
do? What am I supposed to do? You got to put a vowel in between there. Jeffrey Boyer, Rita Martinez, Molu M. What is this? Josh Tetris, Brandon with no last name, Michael On, Nicole Meyer. That's Meyer. Avery Lempka, Mogwai Warbucks. James.
Oh,
it's his father though. It's senior.
That's Mr. I'm just Mogwai. That's Mr. Warbucks is my dad. Really, call me Mogwai.
Brianna Mitchell, Homebrew Murder Crew, Wooden Monkey, Donato Nolfi, April Hansen, Meg Hinton, Buddy Priest, Linda Madison, Alexandra Pankey, Southpaw 17, Florida 1. I don't know what that is. Is that an NFL game play that we're calling? I don't know. Nolan, Southpaw 17, Florida 1.
Let's go. On three.
Drew would know last name. Kobe Bryant, probably not. More than likely
sure.
not. Kathy Bain, Megan Jackson, Harley Posada. Jenny would know last name. Aaron would know last name. Alex Greenberg. Rachel would know last name. James Vogelsang. Chris would know last name. Jamie T. Hernandez. Hugh Janus, James.
He's with
he's
the
out
other
there, Hugh.
That's with, what's his name from before? They're together.
Jimmy Ass-licking Whisman.
No, the
Hugh
other
Janus.
one. The other one, the first one. We had another one of those today.
They love these. I don't understand what the fuck is the
They love the Bart Simpson calling Moe's Bar.
Kaylee Payne. And you know what? One point in time, I loved a good pun. Kaylee Panic, I don't know. Craig Carl. No, it's Carl Craig. Devin Brown. Kathleen Survey.
Two first names. That's what you get.
Sharon
Get it together
Smith.
with the last name, guys, and exchange something. You both come away with two fucking normal names.
Crystal Cooper, Patrick Whitmore. What is this? Karen Buckley, David Spear. Money would know last name. Abby Ritchie, Jillian Scott, Brian Scott. Oh, the both the Scott brothers or brother and sister. I don't know.
The Scotts are here.
Misled Chef would know last name. Pixie would know last name. Jamie, Erigwin, C. Munker. What? What is that? That's got to be a misspelling. I'm so sorry.
Spelunker?
I don't know. C. Munker. Christy Wilcox. David Valerio. Waverly. That's a cool name. Bushki. Bushk. Kelsey Havlick.
Go ahead. Say cool name.
Holly Wilmers. Megan would know last name. Joan Gill. Amanda Bishop Vaught. Jennifer Sawyer. Abe Blinken. You know what? That's my favorite pun so far. That's pretty good. That's why I like puns, because Robin Hood Men in Tights, there was an Abe Lincoln pun in there that's fantastic. Hayden Powell, Pervy, Reed, Jonathan Hebert. I hope it's not Pervy. That's tough. Hebert, Hebert, Dakota Landorf. V would know last name. Heather King, Tom Winnell. That's all. Jamie Lynn, Tara Love. I like that. All right. Shane Whitaker. Whitaker. It's probably Whitaker. Eric Kimball, Cassie Gill, Amber Luciani, and all of our patrons. I love you guys more than you know. Thank you.
Thank you guys so much for everything you do for us. For real. That's just thank you. It's crazy.
Having to get through that every week is brutal.
We can't thank you enough.
The amount of you guys that give a shit about this show, and it stays consistent every week.
It's wild. We've been waiting for everybody to give up for fucking years now, and it just keep hanging with us. So thank you for that. We won't stop. We'll keep doing the same shit. We're not capable of change, so this is what we've got. We don't have another speed.
Better people.
Yeah, we don't have another speed. This is it. So if you like this, fuck, you're in for a long time of joy. If not, then I don't know what the fuck to tell you. So thank you for hanging out with us. If you want to follow us on social media, shutupandgivememurder.com has the links to all of that and more. And live from the Crime and Sports Studios, we will see you next week.
Bye.
If you like crime and sports, you can listen early and ad-free now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts. Prime members can listen early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Before you go, tell us about yourself by filling out a short survey at Wondery.com/survey.
Are you captivated by the dark and mysterious world of true crime? Wondery Plus offers you the ultimate true crime experience with early access to new episodes, exclusive content, and a seamless ad-free listening journey. With Wondery Plus, you'll get access to hundreds of podcasts, including more than 50 true crime series like Dr. Death, the shocking true story of a trusted surgeon who brought unimaginable pain and suffering to his patients.
This was not an operation that was performed. This was attempted murder.
And there's Morbid, the hit podcast that's a lighthearted nightmare. With Wondery Plus, you get access to exclusive bonus content too, allowing you to dive deeper into the cases you love. Like in Suspect, where an ordinary Halloween party turned into a terrifying murder mystery that left its mark on the community.
This case is one of those roller coaster rides where it's like, no, he did it for sure. No, he did it.
Each story is crafted to keep you enthralled, revealing the complexities and motivations behind every crime. Subscribe to Wondery Plus on the Wondery app, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify today. Unlock the door to a world of true crime like never before. With Wondery Plus, the best true crime stories are always at your fingertips.